Bad, y'all can't hear me. Appreciate you for letting me know. Sorry about that, y'all. Hey, y'all. I'm at I-78. I am back. This is installment number 4 for today. This is main attraction. We're going to be talking about Candace Owens and her debate with the 20 feminists. We're gonna see how that goes. I have not watched all of it, so the majority of this will be real time review from me. Again, I do appreciate everybody who's been with me pretty much all day long through the Alligator Alcatraz tour with our president to the mayor's press conference in Philadelphia to find out what's going on there, and then for the partial Diddy verdict. They still working on that, so if anything pops off while we're on, I would definitely let y'all know. Do want to address everyone in the chat. Hey, Blockbuster, hopefully you are back. Blockbuster always is coming through on the early tip. What's going on, Danny? Good to see you. Good to see you. Saw you in the chat earlier. Appreciate the support. Hey, Mahogany, girl, no problem with the but just enjoy your cruise. Don't worry about nothing. Have a good time. Go live and have the time of your life. It's that simple. Cause China, you got me wanting to get on the boat. Y'all, you gotta excuse my my hair. It's sweated out. We got humidity going on. We're in the middle of a rainstorm. That's why I'm on CP time to the max. Cause yeah, it's been coming down. So we're not gonna waste too much time. We're gonna get into it. Now, I had this morning in my feed, saw a couple of people, were talking about what went on with Candace. I was like, let me see what's going on. And the first thing that popped up was this cornball ass dude, the public offender. He did a review on it this morning, and I'm just gonna give y'all a little snippet of the nonsense that he was talking about. Because if you don't know Candace and you go by what this clown's talking about, you probably won't even watch it. But for those of us who know Candace and what she about, we know that what he going to talk about is straight BS. But we're gonna go ahead and get into it real quick. Here we go. This fucking cornball.
This clip yesterday, I'm sure a lot of you guys saw it already, but it's from the new Jubilee.
And as y'all can see, the title is Candace Owens gets cooked by
Candace Owens,
Priscilla.
20 feminists.
When the hell y'all think that ever happen?
I haven't watched it all yet,
but you're doing a review.
I just watched like I think 3 or 4 people debate her, if you will. But people are sharing the Princella clip because Princella is the most recognizable face on there, I believe. All the ones, the ones that I saw, the other people made their points. It's pretty easy to debunk Candace Owens to me. Like,
it's really not.
But one thing about Candace Owens is, she's a grifter, right? So her grift, it falls apart when she engages in conversations with black female feminists, right? In this particular lane. The same way it falls apart, like when it's Candace Owens versus like Brianna Joy Gray, she doesn't stand.
Hang on, y'all. When in y'all life have y'all ever seen? When I got to come back on. When in your life have you ever seen Candace Owens not be able to make a point? When has that taken place? Because I have not seen Candace not be able to make a point, especially against some goofy motherfucker that don't know what they're talking about. I've never seen it. So if we're gonna take this cornball's word for it, it happened in this video. So we definitely gonna be on the lookout. But like, dude, you look like a fucking grifter. Like, who are you? Like, I ain't never heard of you. And we talk about Priscilla. Priscilla done gone from one end of the spectrum clean to the other. And you trying to tell me she came on here and put Candace Owens in check? When that happened? When? So we're not gonna do this. This right here is clearly some. I don't like Candace, so I'm not gonna listen to anything she say. And even if it makes sense, I'm gonna say it didn't because I just don't like Candace. But I can't tell you why I don't like Candace. That's what this sounds like to me. But let us continue on.
And a chance against Brianna Joy Gray because she can't use her tactics against them.
Yes, she
can't. If it's a black man, she'll weaponize the fact that he's a man against her to do the like, no, she doesn't. He could be saying the same thing that Brianna Joy Gray.
No, she doesn't. She takes up black men more than the rest of y'all. What are you
get on
talking
Candace
about?
Owens, and she like, you're like, oh, what are you saying? because I'm a woman and you're a man, and she'll do that stuff or whatever, right? When it's a white, if it's a white man, same thing, he's white. If it's a white woman, same thing, she'll do like, wait, what are you saying? You're saying us people? Like, I've literally, go watch her debate or talk or whatever, talk to Crystal Ball and like infer that Crystal Ball was like having, making these like microaggressions towards her or whatever, when I didn't get that from that, but whatever.
Because you ain't on her level, so of course you didn't get it.
When she meets a person like Princella, when she meets like an educated Black woman standing 10 toes, like that ain't playing them fucking grifty games.
Wait. He talking about Princella that be showing up looking like a whole damn dude. Princella that was married and then, left her husband and got to that whole relationship with B. Simone. That Princella, that's the one we talk about. That's the Princella we talking about. That's your version of educated. I don't even need to hear no more. I don't need to hear no more. I don't need to hear no more. Let me go ahead and get to the actual video, because I don't need to hear no more from this nigga. Like, we not doing this in here today. That's your version of education. I ain't gonna be able to do it. I'm not gonna be able to do it. I ain't gonna be able to do it. I ain't gonna be able to do it. We gonna go ahead and get to the meat of the matter, because I ain't gonna be able to do this here. I ain't gonna be able to do it. Ain't gonna be able to do it. I can't take stupid shit. For those of y'all who know me, y'all know my tolerance for goofy shit is next to nothing. And that all what he was talking about it goes into my goofy shit category. This comes right on with the foolishness and the effery. It come right on with it. So I just want y'all to be prepared. Like I said, I watched a little bit, in between, trying to work and my 3 previous streams for the day. I saw a little bit, but yeah, y'all, it comes right on with the nonsense. So we're gonna go ahead and get into it. We're gonna get into it. Because what I ain't gonna be able to do.
Flexible working hours and flexible working conditions like you have. And I think we should all advocate for that. It's not one or the other, but when you sit here and you go,
look at her, now she's trying to tell Candace
spend all your time doing that. We would love for you to leave the public eye and go focus on what makes you fulfilled.
Okay. Of course you would.
Hi, my name is Candace Owens. I am a podcaster, a mother, a wife, and also the author of the upcoming book, Make Him a Sandwich. And today I am surrounded by 20 feminists.
Shout out to Jubilee.
My first claim is that the sexual revolution has devalued women and made them infinitely less happy.
Hang on right there. Claim number 1. The sexual revolution has devalued women and made them infinitely less happy. Now, I got to chime in right here. Child, y'all, it's a little warm around here. I got to chime in on this claim. I have to agree. I'm gonna have to agree that the sexual revolution got y'all hemmed up and boo-hooing and crying on the internet all day long and taking antidepressants and getting BBLs and surgery as this bitch who finna get up here and think she gonna tell Candace something is about to prove that whole point. She got so much damn plastic in her face, it ain't even settled correctly. But she finna come tell Candace something. Now listen, I'm with you, Mahogany. But I mean, you should never agree with everything somebody say. But for the most part, I mean, it's been times I've been like, Candace, girl, I don't know what the hell wrong with you today, but you wilding out. But for the most part, Candace be on it. And maybe it's me, but Candace get missing. When she, had them babies, Candace be gone. We literally just got new material from Candace. Candace been gone with her babies. Like, what we talking about? Y'all don't know how to sit down somewhere. That's your problem. That's the whole problem. Y'all don't know how to sit down. And for all of this, we can exactly Mahogany. She is. Y'all wanted to be men. Now you got man responsibilities, and now all of this is the problem for you. Yeah, that's too much glare. Now it's the problem for you. So I agree. Sexual revolution has basically, it has seriously devalued women. What's going on, Broken Traditions? How you doing? It has devalued women because at this point, the majority of females, not even women. What's going on, Eric? How you doing? They're not even women. So, you know, yeah, y'all hoes is trash. I'm gonna just be honest. Y'all some trash hoes, and you got what you asked for, and you still ain't satisfied. So, what part of this? What Candace get ready to say ain't? Well, what part of her claim is not valid? Let's see. Look at y'all.
Hi.
Hello. Hi.
Hi, I'm
What's your name?
Samaya.
Samaya, nice to meet you. I'm Candace.
Nice to meet you too. So my question for you is,
No, we're
statistics
not here for
show that
questions. No,
60%.
No, ma'am. We're not here for questions. We already see this is already wrong. We're not here for questions. You are supposed to debunk the claim that feminism has made women less valuable and therefore less happy. You're not supposed to come with questions. That's not what this is. So this already getting ready to fall off the side of the cliff, because that's not what we supposed to be doing.
And of women who are murdered by
bitch. What getting murdered got to do with what we talking about? Let me stop. Let me let her talk.
their intimate partners, murdered by someone that they are in close relations
What
with.
that got to do with
that's
this?
according to the UN from 2023.
Yeah.
So
okay, and hang on, because you're talking about, you're saying them being unalived by their close partners. That could be anybody, because we all know the most violent relationship on the planet is woman on woman. So what that got to do with men? What they got to do with men? The most violent relationship you can get into is with another woman. Black, white, green, purple, brown, electric, orange, woman on woman. So again, we talking about women being less valuable to men. So what the hell that got, what she talking about got to do with any? See, Candace better than me, because I already would be getting up from the table. Like, see, this, I already would have been getting up from the table. Already. But let's go.
how is it
Cool.
that, women are so valued, quote unquote, in the home, and yet that's the place where they're at the most danger?
Okay, so I'm not sure what that has to do with the sexual revolution.
Right, the sexual revolution.
The first claim.
The sexual revolution gave.
I'm happy to answer it. I'm just saying that, if you broaden that statistic, you are more likely in general just to be murdered by somebody you know. So of course,
but men are much less likely to be murdered by their
that's not
partners.
true.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I'm sure, because men are less likely to be murdered by women. Full stop. Yeah, exactly. So that statistic makes sense to me. I'm still not sure how this correlates to whether or not the sexual revolution
increased women's ability to leave the house, women's ability to control their own reproductive capabilities, women's ability to, control their own capacity within the workforce in regards to their own sexual capacity. So it is the very fact that the sexual revolution happened that made our access to the workplace much more, or just the public sphere in general, much more easy. So without the sexual revolution, women would be much more confined to the place where they're at the most danger. Isn't that true?
So you think that
the danger went up when you left out the house?
You think that if we didn't have the sexual revolution, less women or more women would be murdered? Are you saying that women are
more women would be murdered for sure?
Okay, I disagree with that. I still don't think it has anything to do with the claim that women are infinitely less happy because of the sexual revolution, which has devalued women.
I think you'd probably be less happy if you're being murdered.
Oh,
if you're being unalive, you're dead.
Okay, yeah, I don't. Okay, okay. There is definitely a correlation between personal relationships and domestic violence. And just to be clear, if we're talking about just a monogamous relationships, the most violent relationships that are on the books are between lesbian partners. Yes, when people are intimate,
that's not a
that is actually true.
No, the statistic you're talking about is people who have faced domestic violence. Lesbians, yes, are more likely to have faced domestic violence, but that's because they typically came from relationships with men in which
No,
they're
ma'am.
lesbian relationships
ma'am.
are the most violent relationships that we have
Not
on the
true,
books.
but we can move
Statistically, they
on.
can fact check that claim. The point being is that it's not exactly a stunning statistic to say that when people are in relationships, period, whether those relationships are homosexual, whether they're
But
married,
you're
whether they're
saying
in the
that
home.
the sexual
Let
revolution.
me finish. I've let you try to explain how this is
Right.
correlated to
Damn it.
happiness, and
Shut
I
up.
don't think it does. I actually think you're having a different debate right now. But yes, absolutely, it makes perfect sense that you are more likely in general when you are in a relationship, because people are driven by anger by people that they know, whether or not we're talking about boyfriend and girlfriend, girlfriend and girlfriend, a husband and a wife, a husband and a husband, or a wife and a wife. Yes, of course, the instances of domestic violence are going to take place when you're inside of a home. But the sexual revolution, encouraging women to give up their goods for free, which is what I'm speaking about, and encouraging men not to marry these women or to have long-term relationships, what I am saying is a direct contributor to their unhappiness, because women are giving up their goods for free and women are now entering the workplace, and that does not actually make them happy.
Okay, pause. Sorry, you've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
Yeah, because you got up here and wasted up our damn time. Now, if we're listening to what Candace just said. What's going on, Death Reaper? If we listen to what Candace said the sexual revolution and women giving each other the green light to give up all of their box and not requiring any type of commitment from the man, and being and having to accept the consequences of such behavior has led to them being less valuable, therefore being less happy. Because ain't that what y'all live for, is happiness? Or did I miss something? So you got out here and threw box all over the continental United States, and then you started having these babies, and you know what I'm saying, the men are like, well, y'all said, I'm woman, hear me roar, you can do what I do, so I'm gonna let you go ahead and do it. Now you depressed, popping, antidepressants, but you still don't want to admit that the fact that you out here throwing box all over everywhere is why you in the predicament that you in. This chick done come up with everything under the sun, all the way down to people getting unalived to keep from admitting that. Y'all, listen, this is what we doing. This is what we doing. You went all the way to people getting unalived to avoid having that conversation. That's pitiful. Let's be honest. That's pitiful. And it would be one of us to get up there and do that nonsense. And then look what she got on. What newspaper print pants and kitchen braids and whatever. Like, what the hell? It's too much already. That was only person number one.
Hello.
Hi there.
How are you? I'm Candace.
Nice to meet you. Julian, my pronouns are they, them. It's very interesting to think of it when we just think about the gender binary. It's how do we place value on human beings in general? And so when we think about, placing value, that comes from a place of power, right?
Yeah, we
so
still
I
talking
think
about the
let's select
sexual
the
revolution
Victorian era.
devaluing
You have
women.
this dominant group of people coming from white supremacy, deciding who gets to have a proper status in the world. And so that is already taking human beings and devaluing them. And with the sexual revolution.
Hold it right there. Hey, Dr. Steele, how you doing? Hang on right there. So the item on the table is the sexual revolution has devalued women and made them less happy. That's what's on the table. Now, we done heard about, what I'm saying, what? Really? This what we doing? Y'all sub. Hold on. Hold on. So again, we still talking about just in the sexual revolution and women participating in that and throwing their value in the trash, and therefore because their value is in the trash and they are unable to go back to their roots, they are now unhappy. The pressure's too much because pressure busts pipes. We got the shim up here talking about her pronouns is they and them. All of that's plural. You only one person. So what we doing? You one person. Why we going through this? Okay, come on. You one person. Why? This kind of stuff get on my nerves. This is not, so far, this is not a debate. This is y'all want to get up here and try to convince her that y'all ain't crazy as hell. That's what this is. And on that, I'm gonna need a drink. Like, okay. There we go. We back. Foolishness. This is straight fool, so I guess we just gonna have to hear the audio. But y'all, I'm not. Y'all see what this is looking like, right? I ain't gonna be able to do it.
Did was to help people seek out empowerment, which increase value no matter the gender.
No.
So when it comes to sexual revolution, let's look at one contribution is sex education. I'm actually an educator. I teach sociology and LGBTQ studies. And I have absolutely seen the positive outcome with the sexual revolution and sex education and seeing people empower themselves. And with that comes safety when it comes to decreasing STIs, abuse, sexual assault. Again, people get to empower themselves of all genders. And I know earlier you mentioned about violence amongst lesbians and sapphic community, which I do identify within. All genders can be subjected to violence.
That was the point I was making. So I wasn't sure of how her claim was relating to what we were talking about, whether or not it makes people happy or unhappy. Relationships are obviously a ground where there can be violence.
I guess I could just wrap it up by saying, like, if we all have access to like sex education through the incredible work of feminists through the sexual revolution, we are able to gain access to information and gain skills to create an equitable society, egalitarian within our relationships, whether it be platonic or romantic. I'm so grateful for those feminists who have.
Hold it. So let me get this straight. We didn't have sex education back in the day. I know if somebody in this chat is older than me. Somebody got to be older than 46 in this chat. Y'all trying to tell me y'all didn't have sex education when y'all was in school? And for all of this education and, people can, have the autonomy to, practice whatever kind of sex they want and all of that. Why do we still not have a cure for like the two major sexually transmitted diseases on the planet? What are we doing? We had Dr. Steele, we had sex education back in my day too. So I'm trying to figure what the hell she's talking about. So I mean, you've always been able to go somewhere to, learn about deviant sex. I mean, if you're trying to get down like Diddy, it's always been somewhere you could learn about that. You ain't got to go to school for that because that has no place in school. So I'm trying to figure out what she's talking about. Which say, but exactly, did y'all use the banana or the cucumber? Because I'm trying to figure out what she talking about, because that's what I would call her tough face. Ma'am, we not doing this in here today. We not doing this. Because I'm like Candace. I'm sitting here confused about what we doing. I am confused about what we doing, because this, no. So we on person number 2. We still got the same topic on the table. The sexual revolution has devalued women and made them infinitely less happy. And ain't nobody got up on here yet and said how that wasn't true. Everybody, we didn't use anything. They just told us to squeeze the tip and roll it on. For real? I mean, at least we had props, Dr. Steele. I'll say that. You know, say the banana and the cucumber. Yeah, we did have that going on. So, I mean, I'm confused about what we doing. All this sex education, because again, if y'all was getting all this sex education, you will understand sex is not something you need to be doing with any and everybody. You will understand the physical as well as the emotional and spiritual ramifications of having all of this sex. So clearly, y'all ain't getting as much education as you thought. That's it. Like, we're gonna stop the games. These are games. So again, I'm still waiting for somebody to disprove what Candace talking about, but let us continue. I'm still there. Y'all didn't use nothing.
Fought for us, so we can gain those spaces and create a healthier society.
Are you a believer in the government doing everything that it can to make people happy?
So when it comes, as someone that teaches in the public sector, I understand the concern when it comes to what is a teacher, what kind of information they're providing to the students. I do believe that we, as a teacher, I should be able to give that sort of information. Again, I teach college students. One of my claims is I believe that we should mandate sex education amongst college students. So yes, I do want the state, I would like the government to give us those resources so we can implement that curriculum.
Okay.
You will never get it from the current administration. Let me in case y'all didn't know, let me let you know. You will never get dime one from the current administration to get up in a classroom full of adult college students and school them on same-sex sex. It's not gonna happen. Because again, you look like you need to be in the college class. What the hell are you getting up telling somebody? You couldn't come tell me nothing. I could tell you some things, but you couldn't come tell me nothing. What we doing? What we doing? Yeah, same-sex sex, yes. Yeah, what we doing? She can't come tell me nothing. And then you up there looking like a whole dude, talking about your pronouns is them and they. So how many you got alter egos or something? You running schizo on us, you got multiple personalities. How many people you bringing to the bed? Cause see, I got questions. How many people you bringing to the bed that you need to be them and they? And again, this is supposed to be a debate. You just up here giving yo, I don't even know what the hell you want to call it. But you say she's not the only stud in that circle. I know she not. But again, they've always been able to find each other out here in society. You don't need to be standing, in the town square talking about none of this. They have always been able to find each other. That's why they always been together. So, wasn't nobody oppressing you? Wasn't nobody keeping y'all from doing? Cause hell, y'all quit playing. Y'all was busy getting your freak on while your kids was in the backyard playing and your husbands was at work. We're not gonna do this. We're not gonna do this. These games. Y'all was been getting your freak on. So I'm not understanding. Why it's such a thrill for y'all to be out here in the public? Because I personally, I don't care. I'm not coming to participate. I'm not. Yeah, ma'am. You come over here, you're gonna be ma'am and miss, and yeah. That's how that's gonna work, ma'am and miss. But let's continue on.
So yourself a feminist, I'm assuming?
A queer feminist. There's variations, right?
What is a queer feminist as opposed to a feminist, just so I understand?
Well, so I heavily believe in queer theory. So, the gender binary that we understand, it comes from colonization. So someone who is mixed race, family from Mexico,
they don't believe in none of
we
what
have the
you're talking
Moshes
about,
in Mexico,
bro.
which is an indigenous tribe. They believed in gender fluidity.
No,
and then you have European colonizers coming who dismantle that. And now everything that we understand when it comes to gender is a Western lens. So from a queer...
So you don't even think women exist, I'm guessing.
I think everyone should be empowered to figure out their identity and explore the language that best describes themselves. So
Dr. Steele, quick question. If I come to your house, right, and I get undressed, right, and then you get undressed, right, we're not gonna look the same, correct? We not gonna look the same, right? Okay, correct. So if we are not going to look the same because we have different anatomy and different, body parts, things of that nature, would that mean that we are the same, or does that mean we different? I would tend to think that means we different, right? Okay. So if you have men and you have women, that's apples and oranges, right? Not Granny Smith and Red Delicious, right? That's what that means, right? If you got apples here and oranges over here, they're not the same thing. So what the hell is she talking about? This ain't got nothing to do with the Western lens. This got to do with the Bible. God made Adam and Eve. What's she talking about? And for those of y'all who've been to Mexico, y'all know damn well they is not down with this shit she talking about right here. I'm gonna need her to stop playing. Stop playing in our face. This no, ma'am. You done come over here and got your freak lens on. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Because if y'all could see how Candace is looking at her, like, hold on, just real quick. Y'all see how Candace looking? Like, is you for real? Like, seriously. Man, you sat here and shy Candace, girl. Ooh, shy, yeah.
Freedom, America, right? America, freedom. And I want to believe in that when it comes to identity. Right. Everyone should have the freedom to decide how they want to identify, as long as they're not causing harm. But that's where we get into the debate.
But you're causing harm.
So just, again, to be clear, to go back to this claim, we are debating female happiness. You are saying you do not identify as a female.
I identify with all gender expressions. So from masculinity to femininity.
You didn't answer the question.
Saying, are you just saying that as a part of queer theory, you're debating whether or not women are happier after the sexual revolution? I'm just trying to understand, because it seems like you're debating queer theory as opposed to female.
I believe all genders benefit from the sexual revolution.
You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your
seat.
Because
we 0 for 2. We 0 for 2.
Hello.
I'm Zena.
Zena. Very much like your name.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
Can we start with the beginning? Do you identify as a female?
I identify as a woman, yeah.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So I do want to get back to your premise. You're saying that women have been devalued, right, by the sexual revolution. This kind of presumes two things. One, that there has been a loss of worth, right, for women. So you're saying that women have, as human beings, lost worth. Women who, prior to their sexual revolution, were worth more than women today.
I would say that, yes, women have devalued themselves by becoming overtly sexual. That's my claim. So, I mean, also according to just, and let's not remove this from the other part of the claim, which it has made women infinitely less happy.
Right. So are you saying, but you're saying that according to you, women have been devalued?
Not according to me. according to the time in which people are getting married, how difficult it is for people to find a partner that's willing to commit to them. And I think that's in large part due to the fact that women are offering sex for free, because it was a major component of the sexual revolution was this idea.
So a woman's worth is tied to her sexuality.
It's not tied to, well, absolutely. If you're going to be having multiple partners, you are going to be devaluing yourself.
You're worth less as a human being.
Not as a human being, just, in terms of trying to have a partnership and a productive relationship. Certainly men are not going to be clamoring to have a relationship with somebody when there's the market is throwing them.
A man's response to your actions is what defines your worth, right?
Yeah. Well, I would say that I would argue that what makes women actually happy is family. So if you're interrupting, so just to connect the dots for you, when women are having sex with multiple partners, it devalues them for men, right?
For men. So
yes. So
men define a woman's worth.
Well, I would say both of them kind of define one another's worth, because I think
okay,
the
you know
ultimate
what?
goal for people to
Hold up. Candace trying to be nice. Let me go ahead and give y'all the brass tacks. Hell yeah. You ain't gotta like it, but that's what it is. You as a woman, to get to the end of the yellow brick road, you need a man. We see these single mamas out here all day long. They're a hot mess. Hollering about ain't no good men, ain't no this, ain't no that. Woo 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 woo. Oh, what was me? So Candace trying to be nice and not offend none of y'all, but I've been like, hell yeah, your value is tied to a man. Just like men, they're in certain situations, their value is tied to the woman that they attach themselves to. So it's not completely one-sided, but you women, we get a bit more of our value from a man than a man would get from us. Which is why you need to be worth something to get a man in the first place. Well, at least you should be. So I'm confused. Yes, because y'all have tried this. I don't want a man. I don't need a man. You understand? Man can't do nothing for me, and y'all out here a hot mess. Men built to do shit men ain't built to do. We built to do some things men ain't built to do. That's why we gotta come together to get it all done. This ain't hard, y'all. You ain't got to like it, but it is what it is. Okay. Well, I think, you know what, Dr. Steele, how do women value themselves? I think that's the issue that she's really trying to get to, because in this day and time, women devalue themselves from the gate. They be devalued before they even become women. Like, especially in the Black community, these little girls be ruined before they get their first cycle done. Ain't a lick of hope for them. They ain't even had their first cycle yet. So, I mean, yeah. It's like the value is never, how can I put this? It's never activated, if that makes sense. It's like you gonna bake a cake, and you know what I'm saying, you get all your ingredients out, you know what I'm saying, you mix everything together, you know what I'm saying, you prepare your pans, you put the batter in the pan, and then you put it in the oven, but you never turn the oven on. When you leave it in that long enough, I mean, it's gonna get hard and crusty and all, but it's never gonna be a cake. That's what's happening with these females now. They're not getting what they need to take them last 3 steps to cross the finish line. So they're standing there looking at the finish line and can't get over. That's what's going on. So, I mean, like I said, she's trying to be nice, but the answer is yes. The answer is yes, and that's just what it is. That's what it is. So let's continue on.
Be happy is actually family.
Okay, so you're saying in all cases, a woman is going to be more fulfilled in regards to family. Like
that's exactly what I'm saying.
And this is going to work in all cases. So you're saying there's no individual case in which a woman can feel, fulfilled without being tied to other people. In the case
no, man, we're not built for that.
There could be an exceptional case for everything. I think there are exceptional cases, but I think that if we all start trying to be the exception as opposed to recognizing the rule, which is that people in life are more fulfilled when they achieve a family unit and when they have children, women in particular, especially aspiring to children, then you are going to end up with a bunch of people who are unhappy because your job cannot replace the feeling of having a family.
So what you're saying is we need to look at every individual case and see what is going to fulfill you or what is going to, I guess, essentially predict your happiness more. Because if we look at, for example, the Nordic countries, right? These are countries, I'm talking about like Sweden, Denmark, right? These countries tend to be like, I think in the past 14 years, they've been ranked as the highest in happiness and marital satisfaction from women, right? And we see that they also have been the most open in regards to like, sexual norms and sexual roles, right? So, and we also see that there's less rates of like STDs reported. We see more, and that's also due to comprehensive sex education that's pushed in those countries. So we see that and that's like a direct result of the sexual revolution, right? So when we're seeing that direct.
The part she leaving out, these women doing this shit with their husbands. They ain't out here running the streets. They ain't out here with 55 and 75 bodies. They doing this shit with they long-term boyfriend or their damn husband. Like let's be honest. That's what's going on. They not just out here running the street. Because look how Candace is looking at her though, y'all. It's these damn facial expressions that's taking me out. Like, man, tell the truth. Tell the truth. Folks will get on here and twist some shit up and give you the version that they want you to have versus the version that's the truth.
Direct reports of happiness, right? We don't have these same rates in America. In these countries that are more sexually open, why would we see like those rates in those type of countries?
So I think you might be referring to this sort of mass-produced study that was a part of like a behavioral science study, which said that women were the happiest women in the world were women that were actually unmarried and had careers.
No.
Okay, well there was
reported happiness.
Okay, sure. I'm talking about the same thing. It was reported happiness, but it could be there's tons of studies. The point being is that in 2023, there was this massive scandal where they recognize that a lot of these studies that were being produced, behavioral science, was proven to be a complete fraud. And they were unable to reproduce these studies. And they also found that the data had been faked. The data that we can look at that I think shows, and you can let me know if you agree with this, if women, and under the imagination of the feminist umbrella, were really unhappy when they were in the home, and then entering the workforce has made women happier and infinitely feeling more secure about themselves, we could, I think, reasonably expect that there would have been a decrease in suicide rates amongst women.
You would have to go ahead and show how that correlation, right, is going to be a direct cause of women going into the workforce.
Okay, well, how can we, let's measure, then you have to give me a way that we can measure happiness. How can we measure happiness? So I would say suicide rates would be a good thing to look at. Drug, alcohol consumption would be good.
Right, but we can say, I can say at this point in society, I don't think everyone's happy. I think there's a lot of things that we need to reconcile in society.
That's what I'm getting at.
Right? But we have to look at the cause. Right? Why are these things predicted, right? And for example, if we talk about men, there are a lot of things we can look at, right? That tend to predetermine suicide, right? But we can't say, oh, these two things are happening at the same time. This caused this other thing.
Yes, that's right. But I do think that we can objectively say that women who are committing suicide rates more than they were in the 1950s, like it has actually increased marginally. That's not a sign that us entering the workforce suddenly made us
very happy.
Cause of the workforce? We're also binge drinking at a higher rate.
How's this cause of
opioids at a higher rate?
How is this a cause of
because I think women are being put on a pathway aspirationally.
But you're gonna have to. You're saying you think this, right? But where's the cause? Like you're not substantiating the claim. You're saying this is what I think. I'm seeing two.
Okay, pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
Right.
Great job. Great job.
Here we go. We're on to the next one. Here comes the white girl.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm Nikki.
Nice to meet you.
So when we're talking about the value of women on a societal scale and how we view each other, right? When you're devaluing us, you're objectifying us. And follow me, I promise. But
Candace face.
rape rates have gone down by about half in the last 20 years, right? So if you're saying we're less valuable now,
That's not true.
why wouldn't we be suffering at a higher rate?
So is the argument that you're making, just so I understand, that because women are giving up sex for free, they're not being raped?
Every study shows rape is not correlated with just sexual gratification. It is a power structure.
Okay.
So it is about objectifying and abusing women when you rape them, not about whether or not you want sex. What I am saying is that women are less objectified, so therefore we are being raped less.
Okay, so
That's
you
not true.
think that in today's society, because this is pretty wild for me. In the 1950s, you're saying women were more objectified than today in the land of OnlyFans, the Kardashian clan, and women that are essentially putting up their boobs and butts for free on Instagram. You're saying we finally have achieved less objectification, where women can't even get onto an advertising. You can't even advertise a bag without them having to be naked in order for them to get a career as a model. You're saying, oh, great, we've achieved actually less objectification.
So I'm not trying to suggest that I think that the over-commodification of women's bodies is positive. But what I am saying is that when you're going to the 1950s, that we shouldn't put this glazed look of, oh, it was so happy. We had single income households and we got to stay home. We also had a pill popping problem. We also were viewed as maids. Like we were seen as a house appliance far more than we were as people. And so when you have that kind of objectification where you are.
Wait a minute, hold up. As much shit as y'all pop today, y'all motherfuckers get high stepping damn bathroom shower cleaner, fucking fabuloso, damn oven cleaner, and you trying to tell me they was getting gas worse back in the 50s? We're not doing this. No, ma'am. Y'all motherfuckers got Adderall and Xanax and Klonopin and fucking Percocet, all this shit now, and you trying to tell me they was getting gas back in the 50s? They was drinking back in the 50s. Wait, girl, is you serious? For real? This what you trying to tell me? I can't pull up to the red light without just the car being engulfed in weed, and you trying to tell me they had problems back then? The problem was back then. We good now, but the problems was back then. This what we doing? This what we doing? Y'all, the links that these folk will go to not admit what we doing ain't working. It ain't working. Because nobody that's been up here yet got a wedding ring on. Nobody. Not one. We've had two black women, a Latino woman, a Mexican woman, whatever she call herself, and now we got a white woman. Not one of them got a ring on. Not one. But y'all better off. Let's continue on.
Are in a subservient position. I think we're facing a different form today, but I think that rape is a signifier of a contradiction to your statement.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It doesn't make sense, but I do want to rebut it on a couple of points. So first, I just want to say, suggesting that objectification has gone
Eric,
downward since the 1950s is well. That's just a firm no. That is not the truth, and you know that's not true.
Wait, so do you feel
But
like
hold on, let me answer your
like,
second thing.
okay.
Second thing, you then brought up, okay, women were at home, but they were pill popping. Well, you then have to acknowledge we're actually popping more pills now, right? So we have actually increased our amount of pill popping. Women are having overdoses on opioids. And on top of that, since I think 1999, by rate, we are increasing our opioid use compared to men. So women are not popping pills less because we're going into the workforce. That's actually not true at all either. We're also, like I said to you, consuming alcohol more and binge drinking more than we did in the 1950s, which is why I was trying to get her to say, we need to look at actually give me any reasonable metric of how we can define happiness. Because it's hard, right? Are you happy? Yes or no?
Sure, but wait, hold on. We're actually avoiding what my original point was about rape being the signifier.
Okay, pause. You've been voted out by the majority.
Right, because you talking crazy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
If we're going to be honest, I'm sorry, because this is about to be, when we get to the next person, this is about to be real unpopular, but I'm going to tell you the truth. First of all, it's hard to quantify and track rape because you got a sector who it happens to and it's legit and they never say anything. So if they never say anything, we don't know. Then we got another sector of bitches that be fucking lying through their teeth because they put themselves in a situation or they made a choice and did it and didn't get what they thought they was going to get out of it and got pissed off and decided to get some retribution. So it is real hard to be able to, differentiate lies from the truth when it comes to that, when it comes to rape. Because, honestly, a lot of these broads put themselves in a situation to, where shit happened to them. We gonna just tell the truth. Or you end up on on the Bill Cosby and the Weinstein tip. You was in there partying and was feeling good and went along with it because you thought you was gonna get something. And then when you got it wasn't good, or you didn't get it at all. And because you mad and trying to save face, because it's always better to be a victim than to be responsible. That's another problem we women got. Like it's always more convenient for y'all to be the victim than to be like, I fucked up. It is what it is. Because if you're the victim, ain't nobody gonna be asking you no questions. But again, like Candace said, when you out here giving it away, anybody knows that if you get something for free, it's not gonna mean as much to you as something you worked your fingers to the bone for. It's not gonna mean the same situation. You back in the day, cats is, they used to call men back in the day. Cats had to put in work for the coochie. They had to put in work. They ain't got to do all of that now. You just getting it to them. Half the time they ain't even got to ask. They do, Dr. Steele. They do. They be on that victim. But women get a lot more traction out of it than men do. A lot more traction. But let's get on to the next person. Here comes another white lady.
Hi.
Hi.
I like your hat.
Whitney Shanahan. Nice to meet you. I am fascinated by your claim that women have lost happiness since the sexual revolution, since the 1950s. Do you think that there is any tie to happiness and freedom and happiness and choice? Because since 1950s, since the sexual revolution, women have gotten exponentially more freedom and more choice. And for me, as a mother and as a woman, having the freedom to choose what I do, to make my own destiny, makes me infinitely more happy than, say, back before the sexual revolution, when I couldn't get a bank account, couldn't get a home loan.
Were you alive back
couldn't
then?
work
You don't
outside the
look like you was
home,
alive
couldn't
back
travel around without a man, couldn't control my own reproduction. So I feel that happiness, personally, my belief.
Okay, I'm real confused. With this whole controlling your reproduction. They did that in the 50s. What are we doing? Sex worked the same way in 1955 when my mama was born that it works in 2025. It worked the exact same way. What are we talking about? We should say, Dr. Steele, happiness is supposed to be developed from within, and it's each. Exactly. But again, happiness is not a continuous state of being. Happiness comes and goes. So again, y'all, I need y'all to make this make sense to me, because she's sitting up here talking about, saying women couldn't go nowhere without a man. Saying women couldn't have no bank account. Women couldn't do this. Women couldn't do that. Well, ain't that what the hell y'all say y'all want today in 2025? I need a man to pay all my bills. I need you to take me to A, B, C, and D. Ain't that what y'all asking for? Ain't that what y'all asking for? I'm confused. So again, all this freedom to choose and all this, just because you can doesn't mean you should. But again, she talking like she was alive back then. She talking like she's 70 years old. This bitch might be 40 at best. At the most, she 40 years old, which means you wasn't alive back then, because I'm older than that and I wasn't alive back then neither. So you don't know what the hell the women was doing. Bring me an 80-year-old woman and let her talk to me about what was popping off in the 50s. And all what she couldn't do then that she can do now, that's so much better for her. Let me know. They're the ones I want to talk to. Not a 35-year-old bitch who wasn't alive back then. They don't know nothing. Let us continue.
Is tied to our ability to have freedom. And I think that in the United States, protecting freedom and our individual freedoms is what's going to lead us to happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Did you go to college?
Yet.
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Did you?
So yes, I did. So you have a degree?
Absolutely.
Now, when you went to college, did you go to college because it was simply something that you wanted to do? Or did you think that I have to go to college because in order to get a job, I have to have a college degree?
I went to college for art because I was fascinated with art.
Okay. It's just answering my question. Did you go to college? Was that the only reason you went to college? Or did you think that I might want to do something in art, so I have to go to college, like for my career?
I went to school because I wanted to expand my horizons. I mean, I think that's why most people go to university. Why did you go?
That's actually not true. I went, and I think a lot of people go because there's a pressure that if you don't go to college, you're going to be a failure.
It's a choice. Everything's a choice. So
okay,
taking away choices doesn't make people happier.
Yeah,
taking away freedom doesn't make people happier.
I'm disagreeing with you on the idea that people are feeling more free by financial pressure. I think financial pressure makes people feel remarkably less free.
So you want no bank accounts again? Women not to have credit cards?
I'm not saying that women shouldn't have access to credit cards or banking accounts. You're putting words in my mouth. So why don't you respond to the words that I'm saying?
Well, less financial pressure. If I don't have a bank account, that's a lot less financial pressure, I guess, right?
Financial pressure in terms of most people that go to college, and I'm counting myself among them, it's because typically in order to get the job that you're being sold is going to make you infinitely happier and infinitely more free, it just requires a college degree. And most of these people, to be clear, have to put themselves, the majority of people have to put themselves into debt. And I don't think anybody would describe debt as a form of freedom, right? I don't think anybody would realistically say.
Let's get back to happiness. So we're here to talk about happiness and how the sexual revolution, and we're not talking about college debt.
I think it's important because we're talking about freedom. You just said that the reason why I feel happy is because I have more freedom. And I am saying that financial restraints and debt doesn't make people feel more free.
So let's eliminate the debt. Let's eliminate college debt. Maybe we should have free college here in the U.S. That sounds great. Great idea, Candace. I love that idea. All right.
Okay.
Love it. Champion for the people. Girl.
Very nice.
All right. Return to your seat.
Please.
Surrounded is now a podcast, available wherever you listen. Search Surrounded, plug in, and stay part of the conversation. Anywhere, anytime.
This is crazy.
My second claim is that no career will give women as much joy and fulfillment as raising children.
Okay, let's see. So how the man jumping up there? Okay.
Oh, hi, Candace. How are you?
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm John. Okay, so I feel like a lot of your arguments today are very rooted in a sort of old school perspective. I have to be honest. Like, I think, and I'm not trying to be insulting whatsoever, I feel as though most people would identify that claim as pretty extreme and pretty like...
Children are extreme?
Well, no, that women would get more happiness inherently from raising kids than having a job or deciding what they want to do with their lives.
Why is that? I'm just curious. Why would having children, which is just a natural biological conclusion, be something that sounds extreme?
I just said inherently.
Exactly. Yeah. Replicating yourself is extreme, but that's what we was put here to do. What's going on, Derek? How you doing? Replicating yourself, even though that's what you was put here to do, and not even all women can do that, is fucking extreme. I done heard it all. What job do you go to that you replicate yourself? Women, wasn't that the talk? That we in a new month. Happy July, y'all. Wasn't that the talk last month about, you know what I'm saying, women and black women especially losing their jobs? Wasn't that the talk? So most mothers don't lose their kids. That's you, because the kid is you. So replicating you and the person you decide to spend the rest of your life with, the person you love, this shit is extreme, and it ain't something you need to do. You just need to go to work. Y'all, I done fucking heard it. I done heard it all. That's done it for me. Like, I don't even need to hear nobody else come up after this. This done it for me. This has done it for me. Like, this dude, yeah. Making sure that the human that you created, the replication of you, is the best it can be is bullshit. Just go work for somebody else and tie yourself in the knots. And then when they finish with you, they just, you know what I'm saying, throw you out like the trash. That's just more important than replicate yourself. What's going on, T? Oh, Lord, you at the white man's job. Okay. Yo, I done heard it all now. And this coming from a man. This is a male, because men don't speak like this. This is a male. Like, nah, fuck that. Just don't worry about that, because that shit's extreme. I can't.
Inherent.
That's the inherent expectation.
Yeah.
That's better for.
It's inherent because it's biological. So I think when we think about things that are inherent, I think biology is a good thing to start with, right? So biologically speaking, men and women come together, they form families, and that's the reason why you're sitting here. That's the reason that I'm sitting here, is because biology is inherent. So
I was
saying it's just natural order that we're speaking about, right?
Okay, let's break it down. So why do you believe that? Why do you believe?
Looking like what's the dude? Ron Jeremy? What was the porn dude? Y'all? Ron Jeremy and damn Will Ferrell dressed up like the Anchorman, all at the same clip. Like, sir, you on here because you want some attention. You this is not, clearly can't be what you got on your mind. This can't be. I just want to know if he smell like Sex Panther. That's all I need to know. Like Candace, is it pungent? Is it stinging your nostrils? Like, I just need to know if the yeah, like is the Sex Panther strong? That's all I need to know, because this right here is out of order.
Why do I believe that women?
Why do you inherently are happier? Yeah.
Okay, you keep stressing this word inherent. Yeah. I think because it speaks to natural order, and every piece of life, I think, is enriched by children.
You don't think it's natural for women to get to decide what they want to do with their lives?
I do not think that saying women can decide whether or not they want to go to work or have children is problematic. What I'm saying to you is that women will get the most fulfillment from having a family.
Because it's natural.
It's natural, but also children are wonderful and beautiful and spiritually divine creatures. I mean, they're amazing. There's everything about having a child.
If you raise your kids, you don't have gremlins. If you raise your kids worth something, if something happened to you, they got you. What's going on, Jay? Seriously, if you at home raising your kids, you can basically do what you want to do. You ain't gotta hit no time clock. You ain't got to be bothered with no damn co-workers you want to throw up against the wall. You ain't got to be bothered with none of that. And guess what, y'all? After about 5 years, 6 years, 5 years, because if you work something, your kids is gonna be ahead of the game. They go to school, so you don't have to. They don't be in your face all day long. They go to school. Your ass gotta go to that job and do the same shit. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It be the same thing. You don't be in charge. You got people telling you what to do. You always gonna have some kind of complaint. Your money ain't right. You ain't getting no respect. This wrong, that wrong, this, that, woo. I'm tired. I don't feel like getting up. Leave me alone. Woo, 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 woo. Why we ain't off for the holiday? Well, if you're home with your kids, you don't have to worry about none of that. You can do what the unk you want when the unk you want to do it. It's just not hard. You're not on the Sealy program, because hell, y'all keep talking about Sealy and slavery and all that. Hell, go back and watch The Color Purple. She only scrubbed that house down one time when she first got there. She wasn't doing that every day. She scrubbed that house from tip to tail one time. That wasn't every day. Once she got it together, it was together, and she went on about her business. That's why her and Suge had that kind of time to dig up them letters. See? Because the house was together. That ain't 40 hours a week. When you go to the white man job, you put your 40 on it or more. Because most people ain't rocking off the, you know what I'm saying, the 40 by itself. So y'all cut the crap. Staying at home raising your kids is definitely easier than having to go deal with a corporate job. So I do not understand. You ain't got to get up. You ain't got to commute. Well, I mean, you got to get up, but you ain't got to get up as early. Yeah, that's the difference between getting up at 7:15 versus 5:30 or 5:15. That's the difference. So if you're saying a 20-minute ride all together, 10 minutes to the school and 10 minutes back to your house versus the hour and a half to your job and the hour and a half back. You take them kids to school, come home, and do what you want to do when you get there, when you get back home. If you want to get back in the bed, you can get back in the bed. If you decide, you know what I'm saying, you want your cookies and cream, ice cream for breakfast, you can do that. I'm just confused why being in your house where you live is a problem. You should want to enjoy your space. If you can't enjoy being in your space, then you the problem. So it don't matter whether you at home or going to somebody's job, you the problem. But we ain't got to none of that yet. So
yes, it's a lot of work. It's beautiful.
I hear that. Well,
yeah.
Okay, what if there's a little girl born and it's her dream her entire life to be an author or to be, on TV or any of these things. And having children is very expensive. It takes a lot of time. So how is it better for that, and I understand this is hypothetical, but that hypothetical little girl to have children than to pursue these things that would make her happy as she gets older?
I just think that if she publishes the book and she has a child, she would agree with me that the child was more fulfilling and made her happy. That's what I'm happier than the book did, is what I'm saying. And I say this as a published author of a New York Times. I would choose my children over my best-selling book. And I was that little girl who had a dream that it would be really great if I could share my thoughts and ideas in a book. But it is utter insanity for me to reflect on that and say that I would have rather published Blackout than to have my 3 children.
But why is it rather? You see what I'm saying?
It's not rather. I'm just saying
that's
that
your claim.
That's
your claim is that it's better.
It will be more fulfilled.
Right.
Yes.
So rather.
Well, if it's an either or, if you're saying it's either or, I'm just saying that if these 2 things have happened in your life, the thing that will bring you more spiritual fulfillment will be children. And so women who are neglecting that, who are neglecting the pathway to, strive toward family because they think their career is going to hug them at night, or they think that when they're on their deathbed, their career is going to come up next to them and say, you were so great to me. I think that they've stepped into a delusion, and I'm hopeful that they wake up from it before it's too late.
All right, pause. Yeah. Sorry, you've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
Right. Go sit down first. When I give you that time to leave, please go sit down. And we're going to the next one.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, so currently women make up about 47% of the workforce. If this were the case and that women were just inherently unhappy or unfulfilled working and would just prefer to be at home, why don't they?
Because we've made that, due to prior feminist waves, nearly impossible, because now, which I believe that the reason that the government wanted women to enter the workforce was because it gave them an opportunity to tax a household twice. And so this goes back to what I was saying, is that there's a lot of financial pressure that is being—
Who sets the bill? Sound like somebody I know. Sound like Real Bravado Network, Through the Fire podcast. Sound like TJ to me. Then we had this conversation. And again, most of these women can't go home. They can't quit working. They put themselves in a position to where they can't. It'd be one thing if you was there, you know what I'm saying, and you had the option to go home. Most of the women who do have the option to go home. But most of you bitches can't not go to work. Hell, I can't not go to work. It ain't like that. So let's try this again. You can't not go to work. Because you don't know what bringing the check in. Again, you saying that like these women have a choice. They don't. And that's what Candace is talking about. Candace got a choice. Candace ain't got to be out here talking to y'all. Candace ain't got to be showing up on YouTube Monday through Friday at 4:00. Candace can be at home with her kids. Matter of fact, she just came back from being at home with her kids. Candace got a choice. Because Candace put herself in a position to have a choice. Y'all bitches is just bypassing all over that and want to go do all what you want to do and then be like, it ain't fair that I ain't got no choice.
Exerted on young women to enter the workforce, and they do so blindly under this illusion that somehow entering the workforce is going to make you more fulfilled, like getting yourself into 6 figures of debt going to college to then take on a career and be in debt and having to pay student loans while you make $35K is going to make you happier. And I'm saying that isn't actually true.
Okay, so I hear that.
Yeah.
At the same time, would you not agree that that women can both have a career and have children? I mean, you are actively doing that right now.
And I want to be very clear, because I am actively doing it right now. I would be someone that you would call an exception, because I get to work from home. I get to wake up in the morning. I don't have a boss, right? I don't have to go into the office from 9 to 5. I get to then therefore spend the entire morning with my children.
So you're an exception, and the 47% of women that make up our labor force are also an exception?
No, that's the exact opposite. So I'm trying to make it more realistic, because I think it's really bad form when people who are able to stay at home, right, and are able to start working at 1:00 p.m. as I do, after being around their children, the children are running around all day, will then preach to you that every woman can have this. That's not the reality. The reality is that the overwhelming majority of people are stuck behind a desk all day, and they're not happy. They're not doing work that gratifies them at all. And at the same time, they're suspending.
Well, that's just what career you've chosen. But I think that the issue
No,
with
You
your
work a 9 to 5.
okay,
I think that's
okay,
the
yes,
reality,
but if
right?
it's the
Okay.
job.
Okay, so this bitch can't hear. This woman just literally told her to her face on the other side of that table, I'm the exception. My job ain't set up like y'all. Y'all have to take y'all ass into our office. Ain't got to do a damn thing till 1 o'clock in the afternoon after I done took care of my kids. I don't have no boss. I ain't got nobody calling me talking about when you gonna get this done. Give me woo 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 woo. While y'all sitting on the interstate, I'm in the bed sleep. That woman just told y'all that's her reality. That's not what y'all doing. So she like leave me out of that because again, my reality is different from y'all reality. So this 47% that you talking about ain't me. Y'all ain't rolling like me. I got about 50% of what Candace talking about, but I don't have no kids. I work from home. I don't have folks calling and harassing me. I don't. You know what I'm saying? I actually start working an hour and a half before everybody else because I'm in a different state. They in Nebraska, I'm in North Carolina. So I start working an hour and a half before everybody else. So basically, when they come in, I tell them what the hell they need to do. I don't have people bothering me. So yeah, I don't hit a time clock. I don't have nobody popping into my computer trying to see what it is I'm doing. I don't have none of that. When they come in, they already got, you know what I'm saying, they emails and I sign this, put this over there, call such back. Like that's what we doing over here. But again, that's not everybody's reality. 90% of my friends, male and female, going in somebody's office. They're not sitting in their house. I am. So I can't say that everybody's experience, this is the working experience because it's not. My experience is rare. I don't hybrid. I don't go to the office a couple days a week, Monday through Friday. I'm in my house. I do not go to anybody's office. Most people don't have that experience, and that's what the hell Candace is talking about. But this bitch is trying to say that what she doing, everybody else doing none of that. Candace just came back off maternity leave. We ain't see Candace nowhere. Y'all can't do that. Y'all can't do that. So here we go. Let's continue on. People don't listen. They do not listen. The majority of folks, but again, that's what y'all boo-hooed and cried and went to fake ass therapy long enough to get a prescription for because you just couldn't stand being in the house and not being able to go outside. Y'all got what the hell you asked for. I asked to stay here, so I'm here.
That is making them unhappy, then maybe they should have chosen a different career path and not the structure of the career itself. But my issue with this is that not only is it claiming that women can't both be mothers and have jobs, which we know to be true because millions of women do that. My mother does that. You are actively doing it right now. But it also is qualifying what every single woman in this country wants without any clear evidence. I mean, there's 169 million women in this country. How can you say that you know exactly what every woman secretly wants?
That wasn't my claim that I secretly know what every single woman.
Let me stop. First off, Candace didn't say that, and I'm gonna sit here and tell y'all right now. I'm counting the damn days till I say I do and run blue on this EPT where I ain't gotta be bothered with this shit no more. Listen, I'm counting the damn. I don't want to be bothered with this. I'd much rather read green eggs and fucking ham than sit here and whittle through these projects. I'd much rather be making baby food than sitting here placing trades. I'd much rather be changing diapers and singing lullabies and then get on YouTube and come tell y'all about it than to be sitting here in these damn team meetings. Much rather. Let's stop playing. Yeah, I much rather walk around in socks and sweatpants and a t-shirt than to have to press a fucking suit. Any chick who tell you that she rather go through all of that is telling you a bold-faced fucking lie. Because that's the lie she got to tell herself to get up and do this shit every day. And I've been there. I've been delivered, thank you, Lord. But like, let's be for real. If you had a choice between unloading the dishwasher and driving 2 hours to go to work, you would unload that damn dishwasher. Unload the dishwasher and scramble some eggs, and all your bills is paid, versus getting up, pressing the soup, getting in your car, riding for 2 hours, getting out the car, then put in 8 hours of work just to get back in your car and ride another 2 hours to go home to still unload that damn dishwasher. You'd rather unload that damn dishwasher and scramble them eggs. Let's be fucking honest. Okay, I mean, you can be on the fence with Candace. It's cool, but I mean, on these people have not, for me, given me anything to disprove any of what Candace has said. Neither one of these two. We're on the second point. Neither one of these points have any of these people disproven for me. Because from what I'm hearing, they not listening. They just waiting for her to stop talking. They just waiting to not hear the sound of her voice so that they can just say what it is they want to say. They're not interested in having a actual conversation, let alone a debate, which is what this is supposed to be. This is supposed to be a debate, and they just up here talking.
Woman wants. I'm saying that if you measure up at the end of your life, what brought you more fulfillment, your career or a children, raising children in your family, we will discover that, and there actually have been studies, people that have gone to people on their deathbeds, and the number one regret that people had was that they gave too much to their careers. And this includes men, by the way.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, of course, human relation is going to be valued over money and profit.
So then
but
you
at
don't
the same time, what does that
agree
even
with my argument?
I do
at all.
disagree with
You're
your
agreeing with my
argument.
argument.
Yes, humans prefer humans over a job, but that's not just singular to women. That's everyone.
But
And my
talking
question is,
about
what does that
women
even
right
have
now.
to, like, what is the goal of that? Should every woman quit working and just have a child?
Well, I'm just trying to warn you that if you decide to suspend that pursuit of family because you think that you have to first climb the ladder, a lot of women make that mistake and they don't end up finding a partner.
But that's their right. It's free will. We live
definitely
in a free
have a right to
You
make
don't
a
get to
mistake.
say what people should and shouldn't.
I don't think my claim is this is what people should or should not do. I'm just simply stating that my claim is that you will be more fulfilled if you focus on
you
trying
don't get to decide what other people are fulfilled by.
Okay, I'm making my claim here that women are infinitely more fulfilled in the household and raising children than they are taking that 9-to-5 job.
But you have no evidence of that. In fact, you are evidence against your own claim.
I'm not evidence against my own claim.
You are.
I'm saying
You're
that
here at work right now.
I've literally said, I am telling you, women cannot have it all. That is an illusion, and that is an illusion that is stressing women out. And I think it is the reason why so many women are turning to popping pills, why there's been such a significant, more than 1,000% increase since 1999.
But men can have it all. Men can be fathers and have a job, but women can't do that.
I don't think you can have it all.
It sounds like you're devaluing women. I think that women can do everything that a man can do, and men have done this historically throughout time immemorial.
I think women is our debate topic today. So
I mean,
we're not
women
we can be standing up. We can. We've demonstrated that we are not able to handle pressure the same as a man. Men can't have babies. It's things when men can do that women can't. It's things women can do that men can't. That's why you're supposed to come together. So no, we can't do what the hell men do. Because again, if y'all wouldn't be out here pill popping and in a bathroom crying and all that kind of bullshit. You can't. She on her looking like damn Rick James. Look at her, y'all. Y'all can't tell me this ain't the Rick James hairdo. Y'all can't tell me this ain't the Rick James. Like, what we doing? Girl, no. Where your husband at? Let's ask him about your performance. Let's talk to your husband about your performance. You ain't got one. Okay, but what does her being a Trump, hold up, Derek. What does her being a Trump supporter got to do with her making sense? It's possible to do both. So I'm confused. Y'all, let's go true. We ain't even halfway through with the dribble, y'all. I don't know if I'm gonna make it.
Exist in a society with men. We are comparing
women are trying to be both women and men, and that is why women are unhappy today. Is because actually, what's quite ironic about the feminist movement is that
I think women are just trying to be people.
I think women have been taught that being a woman is not enough, and that you have to also aspire to be a man, and that's the irony. It's like a psychological conditioning. What feminists went out and did and said is that in order for women to have value, women need to be like men. And I'm saying
Candace,
that actually women and men are biologically different. There are differences in our behavior. There are differences in our desires. And I think evidence of the feminist movement, by the way, shows us that, because even when women enter into the college education space, the pathways of career that we choose are different from men because we're biologically different, right?
Okay, so let's say that this is true, that women truly are more fulfilled at home. Now, the average cost of raising a child a year is around $21,000 or more. So my issue is, are you saying that women should just suddenly stop working and now the onus is entirely on men? Like, the society that you're pitching is not sustainable economically.
And I think it was sustained economically.
But it's not right
All
now.
right, pause. Naima, you've been voted out by the majority. Please return
But
to
it
your
actually
seat.
is. If you get realistic about what's going on, it absolutely is.
Hi.
Men make more money than women.
Nice to meet you. So your claim is that women will be happier at home. I think you're conflating, though, happiness with importance, because I get what you're saying, where a woman can write a book and have kids, but the kids are always going to make her happier. But I think it just means that kids are always going to be more important, not necessarily make you happier. But also piggybacking on Naima, we don't live in an economy where people typically can have a one-income household, right?
Yes, we do.
Whether it be the mom or dad that stays home. And so I think, and you keep bringing up the 1950s, which
this was right before the fact.
I just don't know if that's the period of time that you want to go back to.
No, it's just, I'm just going back to the first wave of feminism.
But you want to undo progress that's been done. So I'm curious as to what decade you'd be comfortable living in.
Question. Has there really been progress? Like, people today ain't shit. You can't leave your front door unlocked. You can't leave your windows up. You can't lock your doors and your windows and be 100% sure ain't nobody coming up in your spot. You can't even go to Walmart without a fight breaking out. You can't go to McDonald's without the workers spraying damn bear repellent on you. Yeah, we had that happen here in town. A worker at McDonald's got pissed off because the drive-through line was too long and just started spraying bear, like the animal, repellent on people. You can't even go to churches and be sure you gonna leave there with your life. I remember the chick that unalived the woman, the customer. So what is she talking about? Like, where's really all of this progress? Like Candace said, you taking on hundreds of thousands or thousands of dollars worth of debt to go work at a job you hate. That's progress. Like, has there really been progress? Y'all have kids, but you don't raise them. So they out here 12 years old stealing cars. And then when somebody cut their ass down to size, then it's, you know what I'm saying, they need to spend the rest of their life in the prison, and we gonna, we're gonna send them death threats and all that kind of nonsense. And then you got 17-year-old you raised that, decided, that because it's him, he could stick a knife in somebody's chest, and whatever happens. Like, I mean, because I'm sticking the knife in his chest, he really should get up and shake it off. But I mean, if he don't, then hell, he shouldn't have tried me. Like, these are the people y'all raising, but we better off. Make some sense. And look at this chick. Look at this chick. This what she looking like. Y'all gonna do me better than this. Y'all gonna do me better than this. That's all I got. Y'all gonna do me better than this. You're gonna have to. You're gonna have to.
Especially as a Black woman.
Okay, so
Right.
we're gonna park aside the race politics because I want to focus on.
Okay,
Yeah,
then as a
that's
woman, what period
okay.
of time do you want to go back to?
Just as a woman, I think that it was probably a better environment for women when we understood that raising our children was fulfilling.
But some women still do understand that.
Right. And
A lot of women
and I'm
still
one of
understand
them.
it. And I'm here advocating for you
Okay.
to be able to live the life that you want and for other women to be able to live the lives they want.
Do you have children?
No.
Okay. You have a career, I presume?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you work at? What field do you work in?
I do hair.
Okay. Wonderful. So I have both children and a career, as somebody pointed out. And
do hair.
so the fact that I'm saying that you will be infinitely more fulfilled at the end of the day by raising your children than you will be if you come home and you say, wow, I really crushed it dyeing somebody's hair today.
That part.
What is it exactly that makes you angry about hearing that? Like, that's what I'm actually trying.
Nothing makes
I'm
me
trying
angry.
to get.
No,
I'm
that's
trying to
just
get
it.
to
You know
the.
what,
I'm
Kat?
trying
No,
to get
but
to the
that's-
implicit
But
revolution.
that's the thing is that no one
when
is
someone
angry.
mentions children.
No, see, no one's angry when you mention children. I get angry, I guess, when you mention that someone should have a children or you're trying to impose a lifestyle onto people that you want to live, which I think is kind of funny because as someone who's anti-feminism, you practice it more than most women do. I mean, every time you get on your podcast, every time you collect a check, you're practicing feminism.
No, she not.
And that's what you think.
No, that's what it is. Because
actually-
without feminism,
Yeah.
you wouldn't be able to exist.
Yeah, people keep saying. I hate when people say that.
But
because
it's just the
it
truth.
just shows that you haven't done the research to even understand where the
Or you don't know
came from,
history.
which was discovered. That's what I'm saying about you, because it means that you don't understand that a bunch of government officials in the CIA funded the feminist movement. So for all of your hatred for the patriarchy,
I'm so confused.
and
So
speaking
my
about
question
men,
is it bad that they
men
funded it or
wanted-
bad that it just happened?
Men wanted women
We're gonna have
to go into the workforce. The government, which had a lot of men, it was being.
Are
run
you
by
talking about
men.
because World War II occurred and we had to
No,
go
I'm
to
talking-
factories
No,
and then when we
because y'all
left
went
the
home
factories,
after
they
that.
forced us back into the homes?
That's not what I'm saying.
Went
at
home
all.
after that.
So let me tell you what I'm saying, and then you can respond to it.
Go for
okay?
it.
Gloria Steinem is considered to be a feminist icon, right?
Mhm.
Because she led
That
these
shit was well after World War
protests.
II.
She also had a bunch of music festivals. She got students involved. It is just a fact that Gloria Steinem was funded by the CIA, okay? The CIA, being the male-dominated CIA of the 50s and the 60s, funded those movements. So what do you think was the explicit aim? Do you think it was because the government really wanted you to be more free, that they wanted to encourage women to enter?
Well, I
the
have to be honest
workforce?
with you, I couldn't speak on behalf of the government.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And what their intention
Well, I think it's important
was
because you
with
just
that.
said that I don't know history, and I think it's pretty important if you're going to sit across from me and say I don't know history, that you
Yeah,
learn a
but-
piece of history and then question as
You keep bringing up men, and I think it's funny because we should talk about men more. Like you brought up suicide, they're 4 times more likely to kill themselves.
which is why I don't
And while
think-
women, we're twice as more often on antidepressants, but that's because we go out and do what we need to do to keep coping.
because we're not happy.
And we
You
need
ain't
to
got to
focus
do that,
on
it's
men
the point.
and the patriarchy because
You
it's
ain't
actually
built to do
oppressed
that, it's the
them just
point.
as much as women now emotionally, right? Because when we're kids, our parents teach us how to cross the street. Look both ways so you can get the other side unharmed. When a boy comes across a feeling, and I'm using men and boys here because they're the ones suffering, women are too, but emotionally, when they come across a feeling they haven't felt before, we have to teach them how to get to the other side and cope with it. Otherwise, they stay where they are. That anger and resentment builds. That's the feeling they become most comfortable with. That's the feeling they go to first in most situations.
right,
So we need to
pause.
stop telling our boys that they don't cry because they do. They just do it alone and then they become even more alone.
What? Wait, what? What? Wait, what? What? So processing your emotions is equivalent to learning how to cross the street. Yeah, I can't do it. Learning to identify and process emotions is equivalent to learning how to cross the damn street. I done heard it all. I have heard it all. I heard it all. I done heard it all. That's cute.
All right. Jasmine, nice to meet you. Okay, so you say that women are more fulfilled at home with kids than going out into the workforce or getting educated, but that just really doesn't bear out when you look at the stats, when you look at how working mothers are way less likely to be in poverty. Maternal education is the #1 predictor of childhood outcomes, better scores, getting higher incomes in the future, fewer behavioral problems, better mental health. So it's weird to me and college educated women are least likely to get divorced, and they're the only women, the top 10% of women are the only women whose marriage rates are going up. So they're getting married, they're staying married, and their kids are doing better. When you look at stay-at-home mothers, you see that they're more likely to report being depressed. They're more likely to report having anxiety and anger and all these types of things. So how can you say that? Seems like a woman, if you want to get married and have kids, you should go to college and have a career.
So it sounds to me like we are looking at totally different statistics, because everything that you said, I've actually read the exact opposite.
I'm glad we're on a fact check show with you.
Right, exactly.
Oh, it's so exciting.
That's going to be amazing. Okay, because I know, like I said, I think what we're talking about is that there was this widespread report on female happiness, and I know that it was formally debunked, and it was.
That's not what I'm talking about. Pew Research,
right.
University of California. In fact, working mothers today spend more time with their children than women did in the 1960s that were at home.
Okay, well, women that I can tell you, women that are at home are obviously spending more time with their children than the people who are at work.
And their children are not faring off any better, and they're faring off worse.
How are you measuring their children faring off worse?
How likely they are to higher incomes, better scores, fewer health problems, fewer behavioral issues, and better mental.
So the just to get back to the point that I'm making here is that it is obvious that women who have children are going to be more fulfilled.
How is that obvious? Because you said so?
No, it's not obvious because I said so. It's because when you look at all the statistics in terms of women who are choosing not to have families, they are, as the person who just sat here before you mentioned, they are suffering from more depression. They're suffering from more anxiety. And
that's not true.
Okay, it is true. It is actually true that women who are choosing their careers over starting families are finding themselves leaning more onto medicine.
Recent data on this topic is scarce, but the CDC data shows that from 2015 to 2018, women were more than twice as likely to take antidepressants than men, and antidepressant use was more common among those with college degrees. The fuck is she talking about? One reason it's more prevalent among those with college degrees is because of the damn debt. Then Candace just take out debt is not free. Debt is not freedom. So, yeah. How does this work again? Women take more antidepressants than men, but going to work and having kids is gonna keep you at optimum happiness. I ain't gonna do this.
Things like Xanax, anxiety-inducing medicines, and depression, because they suspended that time frame where women really should be looking to find a partner and to start a family, because they were instead pursuing their careers.
And why are they better off?
It is a dishonest, it's totally a dishonest narrative that men and women want the same things out of life. We don't. We absolutely do not want the same things out of life. In fact, we don't even measure success the same. Men and women don't even measure success the same.
So, but tell me how the women who are working and getting educated, why are they faring off better in all of these?
I am telling you that I do not believe they are faring off better in all of these measures.
Because of what?
I am telling you that we are looking at totally opposite statistics. Like, so you're sitting here telling me that the statistics show that women who are working.
So look at this chick. So you trying to tell me you did this to yourself because you feel good? You did that to yourself because you feel good. That's true. You want me to believe you did that to yourself because you are happy with yourself and you feel good. And shit is 100 on a scale of 1 to 10. That's why you did that shit to yourself. Okay. Y'all must think we woo-boo the food. You did this to yourself because you feel good. Older mommies equal more kids on the spectrum. That's because they got that old daddy sperm. New studies that have come out, it's the baby batter. What's going on, Cree? It's the baby batter. Because if that's the case, then you know what I'm saying, why everybody have that uncle that's like 10 years older than them and ain't nothing wrong with them. Back in the day, them oops babies was common and wasn't shit wrong with them. So yeah, it helped. You got 20-year-olds out here with 5 kids and all of them got autism because your womb ain't no good. So it ain't the age, it's how you take care of it. But again, you did this because you feeling good. Got it. Let's continue on.
Are producing better children. But I am saying that women that grow up in a 2-family home where the mother stays at home are faring off better than the children who are being raised in an environment
where the women are working,
where both of the parents are
why don't you
away
stay
from
home?
the home. I do
She
get
does stay home.
No.
That's the
I mean,
that's
I've
why
watched your show.
I'm
You talk about all the nannies
Bitch,
you hire, and it's so
I
hard to find a good nanny.
She ain't said shit about no nanny. You don't realize that office that she in is in her fucking house. You that slow that you ain't pieced that together. All that shit take place in Candace's house. You ain't caught that? That woman told you, she's like, I don't do shit for 1 o'clock for y'all. I don't go nowhere. Everything take place in my house. And getting a babysitter and having a nanny is a totally different thing. So this is what happens when, you know, again, I say they just waiting for her to stop hearing her voice so they can start talking. Because that none of that is what the hell Candace said. None. Not one bit. But let's continue on.
We talked about all of the nannies I hired.
Yeah,
I spoke about how difficult it was to find a babysitter who knew how to cook a meal. And that's because
you don't need a babysitter. You're already, you could retire right now.
Let people respond to you when they're speaking.
You don't want to
respond to you when
no, you don't want to. You want to be working, which is great.
You're telling me what I want now and then accusing me of telling you.
Wait, you don't want to work?
Can you just let me finish? Because you've said so many words that what you're trying to do here, like your argument style is I'm going to say so much and not let her get a word in and then walk away and feel like I've won. We're not having a conversation because you've not letting me respond to one of your points. Okay. What I am saying to you, first to answer what you just said, which was a lie, what I spoke to you about on the weekends is that it's been increasingly difficult to find a 25-year-old who even knows how to make boxed macaroni and cheese, right? And that's crazy. That is in large part due to feminism. Women don't even focus. Like there's this idea that women shouldn't be cooking. Like there's something fundamentally wrong with women even learning how to cook.
Are you spending as much time with your children as you possibly can? Because that's the way to get the most fulfillment.
No, and that's what I'm trying to say. I am speaking to you
then stop.
Okay, could you please let somebody get in?
I did.
I
let you finish.
You're not.
You
actually have not let anybody finish. And like I said, it's no one benefits when you're just speaking over me and not allowing me to respond. All you're proving is that you have an attitude and you believe in feminism, but you're not. That's what I'm saying. You just have an attitude, and it's not cute. It's performative.
I'm actually addressing my point. I will be quiet if you address my point.
Does anybody actually feel here that I am being allowed to address any of her points when she just keeps running over me? Like I'm literally trying to answer your first point of you saying that I don't stay at home. Yeah, fair point. Really weird. Yeah, fair point. Obviously, I get that you're all anti-Candace and pro-feminist, but also it's not productive if you're not actually.
Okay, address the point. You spend more time saying that I'm not addressing that you don't have a chance to talk. I mean, the whole time you could have addressed the point. Okay. You could have talked.
I
go for it.
Just want you to know that you're not coming across as somebody who wants to actually have a conversation. So to get back to the claim, because I don't even know where you're at. You're now talking. You're saying that I said stuff in my podcast.
I'll go wherever you want to go.
I never said.
I'll go wherever.
So do you want to start with me working at home? Because I work at home. You just said something about
you travel all around the world.
Okay,
you do speeches, and I love that. I love how ambitious you are. That's a really great trait. And if you were truly said that, you would be more fulfilled. Now, one thing you do find is women, they don't want to stay at home when you pull them. They just want flexible working hours and flexible working conditions,
what
like
do you
have.
And
I think we should all
advocate. You ain't trying to be at home with your kids. The fuck you need flexible hours for? You either gonna work or you ain't. This is real simple. This is business 101. We either gonna produce or we not. So what you need flexible working hours for? I'm confused. What you need flexible working hours for if you ain't trying to be at home with them kids? And if Candace goes somewhere, she take her kids with her. What are we talking about? I'm confused. What we doing? Yeah, Becky needs to go and get her face smoothed out. Is that what you need the flexible working hours for? So that you can find your way back to the plastic surgeon? Because baby, you botched. You botched. You need to go see Dr. Ain't that who runs by Dr. Miami? And then you need to go, baby girl, you need to go see somebody because this here ain't the move. This is not the move. Let me let you know. Because I got flexible working hours. And I don't have no kids, so I don't be doing shit. My working hours flex. I'll be outside on my walk or at the nail salon, getting a pedicure or going to get my hair braided. That's going to be my next flex. Is I'm going to get my hair braided. One of my homegirl has to get my hair braided. Like, what we doing? So y'all ain't got no kids and you ain't trying to raise the kids. You just want to have flexible working hours so you can figure out how not to work. But I use my flexible working hours to get shit done, like take care of my granddaddy, take him to doctor's appointments, make sure he good, go to doctor's appointments my damn self. Like I'm using my flexible schedule where I still get my 40 to do productive shit. Y'all just want to not work. Exactly, Cree. She making this harder than what it really is because she just wants to be on here because she just a chance to be cute. But the problem is she ain't cute. She ain't cute. You got that eyeliner wing all the way back to your damn ear. You ain't cute. Nothing about this is cute. Big lump of plastic right here. You got two right. Bitch, none of this is cute. None. And you want to get on here and call yourself getting into it with Candace Owens? Like plain Jane Candace. Candace literally got a rap. That's a rap. Ain't nothing. I love a good rap though. Candace got a rap. Candace ain't got nothing in her face. Candace ain't even wearing a lot, and she ain't even wearing super shiny lip gloss. Like Candace is giving y'all bare bones and killing you bitches all at the same time. All at the same time.
Advocate for that. It's not one or the other. But when you sit here and you go, you'll be more fulfilled doing this and spend all your time doing that. We would love for you to leave the public eye and go focus on what makes you fulfilled.
Okay.
What was the point?
Hey, before we go any further, we want to take a moment to say thanks so much to Straight Arrow News for powering the fact checks in this video. Straight Arrow News is on a mission to raise the bar on journalism in a time of media bias and mistrust. Straight Arrow News helps you quickly find trusted information you need to understand the news, allowing you to dive deep into the topics that matter to you and the world around you. Their work is trying to break the bias bubble, helping you understand how every side of the political spectrum is reporting on a story so you get a full picture of the news. That's why we're so happy to be partnering with Straight Arrow News. They deliver the facts, unbiased, balanced, and designed to make sense of a complex world, getting you the clarity you deserve and news you can trust. Go to san.com/surrounded or click the link in the description to check it out. By clicking that link, you're not just supporting this channel. You also take advantage of a better way to get the news. Welcome back to Trustworthy Journalism. Thanks again to Straight Arrow News for partnering with us on this episode. Now, let's get into it.
My next claim is that we live under a matriarchy, not a patriarchy.
Y'all agree with that?
Hi, hello.
Nice to meet you.
It's a
Here come
pleasure to meet
Priscilla.
you.
Here
I'm
we go.
Priscilla, the Queen Maker.
Love that.
So you say we live in a matriarchy.
Right.
Can you give me the definition of patriarchy?
Yes. Well, the patriarchy is the idea that the system, our system in America, is being run by men, and that women are having to exist under a system that immediately disadvantages them because men are behind it. And I disagree with that pointedly. I think actually we're living in a society where people are being very much influenced socially and politically by women.
Okay, so the denotative definition of patriarchy is father rule, and where positions of government are held majorly by men, where women are largely excluded. So 120.
Wait. Ain't that what the fuck Candace just said? Now, I got a few degrees. Y'all know I don't even talk about them. Y'all know I really don't, but I got a few. But ain't that what the fuck Candace just said? Then turn around and said it was bullshit because women really are bringing the bulk of the influence. Ain't that what the this kind of shit make me itch. Like, I'm gonna need some of them pills they was talking about popping earlier. I think I might need one. Yeah, okay. Danny, like I said, I didn't make it this far because I you know, that job I was telling y'all about where I don't have people bothering me. I went on ahead and did that so that people wouldn't bother me, so that I could then come on and give y'all them 3 streams we had earlier today. I was busy doing that, so I didn't make it this far. But let us continue, because I know that's what the fuck Candace just said. Maybe I know that's what Candace said because I took languages other than English. Maybe that's why I understand that's what. Fuck it. Never mind. For those of y'all, this is how Priscilla showed up to the spot, try to tell somebody something. So this is walking confusion. This walking confusion, y'all. And damn, I should have ordered that cheesecake. That sounds good right about now, so that I don't get on here and say nothing foul to get my channel cut off. Yeah, I should have went on and done that. But let's continue. Let's go ahead and roll on. Here we go. I'm gonna let it run.
House of Representatives are female, and that's only about 25%.
Right.
And only about 28% make up Senate, and 3.3% of Congress up until this date have ever been women. So by denotative definition, we literally live in a patriarchy.
Yes. So I disagree with that. So I think what this gets to, which is actually an important part of the conversation, is that people always think that where there is disparity, there's somehow inequality. And I actually reject that entirely. I think it's just a difference in what we're interested in. I think we're biologically wired, we're interested in different careers. And just because if we looked in the fashion industry and said, oh, well, it's being dominated by women, it wouldn't mean that, okay, well, that means that the fashion industry is a matriarchy and men have no sense. It just means have no ability to communicate how they feel in the fashion industry. I literally think that those numbers show that we're just biologically different. So I actually think politically, women have shown that they have a lot more power than men have. And I'm talking about just in terms of political movements. The most recent I can think of is the Me Too movement, right? If a bunch of women get together and complain about a man and refer to the patriarchy and scream, generally speaking, let me know if you agree, the media will celebrate that. If a bunch of men got together and were shrieking and speaking about women, generally speaking, the media would call them all white supremacists and say that we had a misogyny problem and that things were really wrong in society. Women are allowed to be more vocal in general about problems than men are.
Well, let me speak to that. When we're talking about government and media, these are two different things. So under the denotative definition of a patriarchy, by the percentages that are occupied in the government, which is majority male, defines us as a patriarchy. Now, what when it comes to for capitalism, for marketing purposes and control, for capital and revenue, that is a totally different conversation. But who's making the laws? I don't think that women are the ones voting to have their reproductive rights taken away, where you have rape, incest, and all of these things excluded to force women to be able to have. I don't think women in government would largely vote against their own interests because it's majority male, patriarchy.
Hang on. What? Somebody let me know. What fucking rights have women had taken away from them? What fucking interest have men taken away from women? I ask this as a woman in 2025. I ask this of you as a woman here on July the 2nd, 2025. What rights have been taken away from me? I need somebody to let me know, because I clearly missed the memo. Because everything I could do last year, I can do this year. So what we talk about? I am so confused. Everything I could do last year, I can do this year. Now, am I making the same decisions this year that I made last year? In some cases. In some cases not. Hold on for a minute, y'all. I mean, I'll let this play because I'm not understanding.
Okay,
Hold
I
on.
think love
What's
that
going
point.
on, Drew?
Are women allowed to vote?
Oh, of course they are.
Who's voting that patriarchy, and then out of curiosity?
No, I totally agree. And you want to know why? Because
Yes,
there
I
are
do.
so many women who think like you. You submit to the idea of men ruling everything. And your ideology is spread across a lot of women who also falsely believe to vote against their own interests just to complain about it in the end. You know, earlier you said that, women would be much more happier working at home, but don't you agree that it's human nature to want things that you don't have? So during the 1950s, which is something that you constantly bring up, it wasn't until 1994 that it was illegal to beat your wife. And so what we're dealing with is people wanting something, and then when they get it, they're not happy with it, and then they have to revoke that idea for something else. And so what you're saying is that women vote for these things because they have the same mentality as you.
Okay. So you're acknowledging that women have the freedom to vote.
Yes.
And you're saying that women are still existing mentally, even with the freedom to vote.
Correct.
They are voting men in because we are still victims of.
No, I don't believe in victimhood. I believe in lack of education and lack of knowledge, because one of the things that you also
So you think that it could just be that more men are running for positions of office?
No, not necessarily. Because remember, the United States, the average reading comprehension of people in the United States is 6th grade. So we're not dealing with educated people. Lack of education is the cause for what we see.
Oh, bitch. Wait a minute. Because now we've been watching this for 47 minutes and 50 seconds, and every woman that got up on here said how they was educated and this, that, and the woo, and how we go, yeah, education is power. So you educated, but you dumb at the same time. How does this work? Look, even the girl over here don't understand this. Look at this, y'all. That's the bitch that was just on. She confused. She confused. Cause y'all was smart a minute ago. Now y'all dumb. But let me turn y'all on to some game. My parents I was raised in a 2-parent household. My mother worked. Her mother didn't. So instead of going to nursery school and all that kind of nonsense, I went to my grandparents' house because her husband was over there too. So I went to my grandparents' house. So when I got to the 6th grade. I wasn't reading on 6th grade level. I was reading them college books. Because I had people was like, they should get that book and read something. What this say? Remember, y'all, my dad taught me how to read. We gonna get real with it. My daddy taught me how to read. So what y'all doing? She confused. Becky over there confused. Botch Becky is confused. Cree. Look at her. She like, what? Because I just got on here and told y'all we were smart. Now she on here said we dumb. What we doing? See how y'all story don't match? Because y'all don't come together long enough to get your story straight. Women been getting their ass beat since the beginning of time. It's some woman right now getting her ass whooped somewhere because she run off at the mouth. And these chicks today be feeling froggy, so they likes to leave. They like to put their hands on you. So what we talking about? Because I personally ain't never been beat. Maybe I'm I'll be on here joking about being a unicorn, but maybe I really am, because this stuff that y'all be going through, I don't have any problems. What you say, Eric? Education is purely ignorance because they don't have a genuine argument. Well, Priscilla say they dumb, so I guess you're right. Let us continue, because honey, this here
in the world. And if we educate the women better, because a nation can rise no higher than its woman. And if she reading and comprehending at a 6th grade level and popping out a lot of kids, because the brokest people in the world pop out the most kids. So if we have those people voting, of course they're going to vote against their interests, because they're voting for some utopian society that will never exist.
Okay, so that's why you think Kamala lost.
This ain't even about Kamala.
Because you're talking about women. No, but we had an opportunity.
Yeah, go ahead.
We had a male running and we had a female running. And we actually showed that Trump increased the amount of women who voted for him, right? So I'm asking you, do you believe that the reason that happened was because women became less educated during that time?
They've always been less educated. Did you know that UNESCO says that that 2/3 of the 7.7 million illiterate adults is women? Illiterate. And we have 6th grade educated people voting. And guess who? Guess the dominant population is white women. And so guess what? Now you have to add a race element into that, which you already know exists.
You ain't nowhere in here. You finna sit up here and come back. Ma'am, I wasn't 6th grade educated in the 6th fucking grade. Might have been 6th grade educated in the 1st grade, because I didn't go to kindergarten. And then shit, I didn't do nothing in 1st grade, but I was damn near teaching in 1st grade. Yeah, I might have been 6th grade educated in the 1st grade. I wasn't 6th grade educated in 6th grade. Wait. White women are more educated than black women, but white women dumber than black women? The pills we was talking about earlier, I think I'm gonna need a few, because right now I ain't gonna make it. I promise you I ain't gonna make it. Cree, I ain't gonna make it. So, women stupid. Women are most educated and stupid at the same time. Y'all, look how Candace looking. Look at her face. Look at her face. Like, for real. I don't. I'm a Cree. I'm done. I've been done since like chick number 3. I've been done. This broad got up there looking like Vin Diesel, talking about her pronouns is they and them. I've been done since that. That's how long I've been.
Because we as black folks, we ain't the dominant people voting people in. Okay, so now when we have to go into white supremacy and
Over to white
feminism.
supremacy. I
Now
love
you
it.
have to look at the mind of the people who actually have economic success and what they're voting for, because classism actually matters as well. So
We're talking about
I'm
economic
sorry, but a
success. That
lot of
means we're
people
looking at
vote
the
based
star
on their
head.
feelings and not based on policy.
Pause, guys.
Yes.
Sorry, you've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
Thank you for the respectful conversation.
Hi.
Hi.
Madame
How are
Dude.
you?
Great to meet you. I'm doing
Very
well.
nice to meet you.
So I view this argument as a matter of fact, right? This is a descriptive claim about the culture, reality we live in, and patriarchy being a system in which men hold the predominance of power in both political, economic, and social methods of organization. So S&P 500 companies, 90% of CEOs are men. Board members, 70% of CEOs are men. 70% of congressional members are men. Now, you may provide some sort of naturalistic argument to why that is, but what you're essentially arguing then is that there's a natural patriarchy, which I think feminists would all disagree with. We think that there's a clear social pressure as to why this is. And part of the evidence for that is since feminism's arise within our public culture, we've now seen an explosion of women entering these fields, but we have a long way to go. But fundamentally, the claim regarding patriarchy or matriarchy, we are so much closer to where we were just a few decades ago or a couple generations ago, where women couldn't hold a credit card, than a system where men can't hold a credit card. We're still much closer to that form of society.
Why would you say that we're closer to that? What do you mean by
Hang. If women, because I need somebody to explain this to me. If all we see now is women talking about, you know what I'm saying, how they want men to take care of them and how they don't want to have to be responsible, you know what I'm saying, for nothing. And they just want to, you know what I'm saying, live the soft girl life and all of that. If you don't want to pay the bills, what the fuck do you need credit cards and bank accounts and all that kind of bullshit for? That's get out what you put in. So if you ain't putting nothing in, you don't need that to get nothing out. If you have no need for the credit card, why you need the credit card? Look, MC, I've been over here itching because this don't make no sense. If you want to be provided for, then if you want to be provided for, then you aren't doing the providing. So if you're not doing the providing, you don't need the tools that provide, because you're being provided for. You don't, as a parent, you don't let your 6-year-old kid go do the grocery shopping, because if you did, you know what they're coming back with. If they make it back, you know what's gonna be in the cart: candy, cookies, soda, ice cream, cake. So if I'm paying all the bills and making sure you got what you need, you don't need the tools that I use to get that shit done. Why are you even concerning yourself with that? Because I'm just trying to figure out what y'all was doing. Because again, my grandmother, my mother's mother, my grandfather retired her. I think my mama was like 9 or 10. He retired her. There was not one penny that rolled through that damn house that she didn't have a hand on. Not one. If my granddad decided he wanted to give you some money, he would tell my grandmama to write you a check. I never saw him write a check until my grandmother passed. But she didn't work no well. So what y'all talking about? What are y'all talking about? Why do you need your own credit card? You can't pay the bill, so what the fuck do you need a credit card for? Why do you need your own bank account? Where are you going? Where you going without him? Like, what are y'all talking about? This shit doesn't make any sense. It don't make sense. I wouldn't give a shit about not having a debit card that means I ain't got to use it to pay nobody. You give me okay. Here's your, and all I gotta use this for is to go to go grocery shopping. Child, I'll be like, look, babe, I'm about to go. Hell, if you want to give it to me when it's time to go, I don't care. I don't care. This is foolishness. This is real foolishness. Like the expectation to be able to just spend money somebody else worked for on the basis of what y'all bitches can't cook. You don't know how to do no damn laundry. You done gave your cat to everybody to where it don't have work no damn more. Y'all ain't raised hell if you womb working, you have some kids, you ain't raising them worth a damn. What is it these men supposed to be investing in? What is it they paying for? I've been in several discussions where that question was on the table. I ain't got a viable answer yet. What the fuck, y'all? What are they paying for? Your daddy didn't pay for you, but this man's supposed to. I be trying to understand. My daddy paid for me. Yeah, my daddy was paying before I got here. We gonna be real about it. He spent some money to get me here. Trust. I don't understand this. Asking for shit you ain't never seen or experienced before. Granted, it would be cool to have. Do the work to get it. It's not something that it's not just gonna show up. You gotta put in the work. It's that simple, but let us continue.
That you just qualify that.
Because in terms of economic power, so for example, household wealth, women own 55 cents to every dollar a man owns.
Who controls household spending though? So you talk about how the money's made in America. How is it being spent? Who spends it?
So it's primarily spent by women, as you've noted, but then the money where the profit's being generated, it's being generated by men.
Would you rather be the people that are spending and deciding on what the money's being spent on, or would you rather be the person that's just working to earn that?
Well, CEOs and board members aren't working. They own the shares.
Right.
And they're making the
not
profit.
necessarily.
You would much in a capitalist system, by definition, you would much rather be making the profit than spending.
I would much rather be spending your money than having to work for your money. Just so we are totally clear here, I would much rather spend your money than have to go out and earn your money.
Well, you're talking about wage labor in terms of working, but in terms of
I'm talking about spending power. Right.
Well, sure.
But that matters. If 85.
Listen, if I got to be up at 6 o'clock in the morning, it need to be for a different reason than I got to get up and press this suit and put it on to go hear a bunch of boo boo babble. I need to be doing some different kind of work at 6 in the morning. Washing dishes is a hell of a lot easier than putting together a financial plan for somebody. Making the money is a hell of a lot harder than spending it. Trust what I tell you. He need to cut the bull. Like, no. I have way more fun spending this money than I do making it. Way more fun. Again, if I got to be up at 6 in the morning, I need to be doing a different kind of work than sitting in front of a damn computer or getting myself ready to be in the computer. Like, I got to be up at 6 in the morning. I need to be working on getting your t-shirt and your shorts off. That's the type of work I need to be focused on. Not what am I gonna wear? No. That's the work I need to be focusing on. Like literally, how much time we got to get this in for these kids wake up? Like that's the type of work I'm trying to hit about at 7 in the morning. Not Well, yeah, I can lay here for another 5 minutes if I, you know what I'm saying, find something else to put on that don't require no ironing. No, I'm doing all that.
5%
Sure.
of 85 cents of every dollar, how that's being spent is being determined by women. That's power. That we can't say spending power is not power.
Why do you think that is the case? It's because women are often relegated to the role of doing grocery shopping, etc. Because for
no, women make less money than men because women want to be the secretary. Women don't want to be hanging from the power line. Women don't want to be out here hooking up the tapping into the city water line. The women don't want to they don't want to be laying Google Fiber. They want to be the chick you call to talk about why your Google Fiber ain't working. You're not gonna make the same money. That's what the problem is now. If you want to go out there and lay the Google Fiber wire, then you could get that same check, but you don't want to do that. So that's what the problem is. Nobody's saying that you can't go do that. You don't want to go do that. I don't want to do that. So I sit here at this damn desk and send these emails and write these SOPs and do these trades and move these people money around, all that kind of thing. Because I don't want to be out there in this heat wave we just had, digging ditches and blowing up buildings and all that kind of bullshit. It's hot. I don't want to be no firefighter. I don't want to be no police. I don't want none of that. It's too fucking hot. Okay, I'm staying here with the air and the water, and I'm gonna kick it. I don't do all that. That's why they check look one way and my check look a different way because we're not doing the same work. So we need to have that honest conversation. We said female welders are in high demand, but I don't see a huge rush to fit. No, it's not. It ain't feminine, y'all. I'm just, as a woman, I don't want to be trashing my pedicure, putting on those steel toes, and smashing down my boobies, trying to put on the overalls and fucking up my edges, wearing no damn hard hat. It is hot. I don't want to be doing all of that in the middle of my cycle, trying to concentrate. That I don't want that. That's not what I want to do. So I don't do that. And my hat goes off to those who do that. And I don't be sitting up here crying because they check look like 3 times mine. They doing and I don't want to do. That part, Cree, I'm good where I'm at. I don't even want to do this. I done told y'all I'm counting the days. I'm counting the days. This right here. I mean, it's literally not horrible. But again, if I could just, you know what I'm saying, literally babysit all day long and do some laundry, vacuum, and fix something to eat, I'll be good. I'm just saying, so I'm not complaining. Now, if one day I wake up and be like, you know what, this might be a good day to go get in the working in the oil field, then I'll go do that. But I'm not gonna sit here and cry that my check for not doing what they doing in the oil field don't look like what they check is for doing what they're doing in the oil field. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I wasn't built for all of that. Ruining my pedicure and shit. Child. I had way too many men tell me I got nice feet. Ain't no need in ruining that at this stage of the game. It just ain't no need for that. So what I'm gonna do is continue to do what I've been doing. So let me hear what else he talking about.
Yeah, now, or from millennia up until now, women were unable to enter the workforce and have economic, political freedom.
So let's get into the reasons, because you brought up something that men are the people that are at the top of these companies, these Fortune 500 companies.
Right. And political power.
You're absolutely right. Why is that?
It's primarily because the women haven't broken the ceiling quite yet in terms of meeting men in terms of parity with these sort of powers. But what we've seen with the explosion of feminism is that women have actually begun to enter these companies, have risen into both political and economic positions.
And what have we seen with these women who have risen into these high positions? Every time I turn around, these bitches is getting caught up in some kind of theft. So y'all stealing. You can't keep your drawers on. They're the main two things I'm seeing. You can't count 2 and 2 is 4, not 10. The money is always jacked up, and y'all can't keep your drawers on. This is what I'm seeing from these women. That's what I'm saying. These women getting these opportunities. Anybody remember Tiffany Henyard? Remember her? Y'all remember Fannie Willis? Y'all remember what that girl Christina what's her name down there and fighting at the club and got arrested? Like what's old girl down there in Louisiana? Like I mean the list. It goes on and on. Hell, even here in Charlotte. Damn councilwoman caught up with them damn PPP loans. Y'all, so again, women getting into these positions, y'all seem to not be able to handle these positions. So why have them? You get anybody to mess up your books and steal from you. That ain't no special woman gift. But for some reason, y'all making it look like just that. But let us continue.
Continues to grow year by year, which shows that these social pressures are actually breaking apart as soon as feminism comes into play.
So what I would say is what that shows you is that women and men have different interests. And I think this gets into what I was saying, that just because you see a disparity does not mean that it's not just a disparity in what our interests are. That's what's being represented. I don't know why there has been this idea that women should want to aspire to work 80 hours a week in order to be on par with men.
Do you think that interests are innate, or do you think
I think the interests are innate.
So why is it then that, for example, in the 1980s, only a quarter of college graduates were women, where now majority of college graduates are women? That shows that because of the way that social pressures have actually changed, women's interests are actually now changing too. A majority, I think, or at least half of law school graduates are now women. It used to be the case for example, a few hundred years ago, that a lot of primary philosophers like Immanuel Kant, Hegel, didn't even believe women could be reasonable. Now here you are today doing a debate with me where we're using logic and reason to get to these flows, and nobody here would dismiss the claim that you can't be rational or logical or be, for example, a great lawyer because you're a woman.
Right. So I totally agree with you that women, but I think they have actually entered into the workforce. I mean, entered into college under this external pressure of feeling that if you don't go to college, you're going to be a failure.
So you admit that pressures are a part of the way interests work.
Yes, but we're disagreeing on where the pressure is coming from. Like, I think that now the pressure is that if a woman doesn't enter the force, there's no longer this idea that, okay, we're going to come together as a family, whereas there was this reality that there was this understanding that you would have a partner. People were getting married when they were 18, 19 years old. Right. Our grandparents, now it's because of feminism. And I'm saying this is the downside of feminism. Women no longer have that sense. They think that they have to be pressured to go take out a loan to go to college, and then you have the pressure to get.
Well, they have the same pressures as men because women no longer rely on it for an income.
Pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please.
I did like our conversation. Might have to come back to you.
All right, on to the next one. I'm a black girl.
Hi, Owens. I'm Paris.
Very nice to meet you.
Her damn face.
So, can I explain to you why I believe we live in a patriarchy and why I believe we live in a society that's preferential to men? So, I'm going to use the example of male violence. There's a lot of places I can look, but we're going to talk about that. 81% of women have been sexually assaulted. 1 in 6 have been raped. 1 in 4 women are the victims of domestic violence.
None of that shit has happened to me. Not one thing she has named has happened to me. Not one. I call bullshit. Not one thing she just named has happened to me. Not one. Not one. Let's continue.
violence. 98% of perpetrators of rape and sexual assault are men. 95% of perpetrators of domestic violence are men. In regards to human trafficking, 70% of human trafficking victims are women. So we're seeing a very clear issue of men being violent towards women. And then when we look at the way that our government handles that, 1 out of 3 rapes go reported. And then out of the ones that go reported, 7% end in jail time. So if we're looking at that, and we're looking at the fact
because
that
y'all take checks
really
instead.
Worried about male violence.
Well, so what I would say is, going back to biological differences, men are naturally inclined more towards aggression than women are. So I am not shocked by you telling me, even if you looked at, like I said, male on male crime, you would see that there are more instances of men killing other men than there are instances of women killing other women. And that, I think, actually speaks to our biological differences, which is actually at the root of everything that I believe about feminism being a lie, is because they're trying to program people to believe that men and women are the same. Now, I don't think that pointing to the fact that men are more aggressive than women, which is a point that you and I 1000% agree on, whether or not that manifests in the very wrong way of men harming other men, which I think they do more probably than they are beating women, men on male violence. That manifestation doesn't change the fact that men and women are just biologically hardwired different. I think it's actually proof of that. I don't think it has anything to do with the fact of power dynamics in this country, because to the contrary, if you look at prison rates and talking about how disparities don't mean anything, the majority of overwhelming people that are in prison are male, right? There's a reason for that. So when it manifests in a good way, that male aggression, is the reason why we have men defending us, men that are willing to go to war and die for our nation. So aggression being an aspect of masculinity has nothing to do with the conversation of whether or not feminism is harming women today.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you that
we agree.
Men are biologically different.
Yes,
men
but what I want you to connect it to is, I guess, power. Because what I'm talking about when I say that we're existing under a matriarchy is that I believe that the social pressures politically and socially that are coming, and even within our music, if we talk about Hollywood, it's very much
that power
has become
means nothing. Like, just because who was on the top music charts or whatever are women.
So she said the power means nothing, but then this dude that was just on before her and the chick that was on before him say the power, Princella, the power was everything. Can y'all come to a consensus before you start trying to tell Candace she don't know what she talking about? Can y'all get on the same page? Because now the 2 people before you just said that the power was everything. Now power don't mean nothing. What you say, MC? They never add the fact that female partners were doing hella unliving and women. Hella unliving of women in it. First off, them stats. 95% of women been violated in some manner. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. I just sat here and told y'all all that shit she ran off. Ain't none of that happened to me. Not never. And I'm 46 years old. I ain't had none of that bullshit happen to me. But you up here looking like a whole dude. She looked like what's that movie? It ain't coming to me. But she looked like that's what I'm talking about, freaky. Ain't never happened to you neither. She looked like she's straight from Ethiopia over here. Like, what we talking about? She looked like she got on the plane with Sally Struthers when she went over there and made her last commercial, and she got on the plane and came on back over here. Like, what we talking about? What we talking about? Why we doing this? I'm not a fan. I'm just saying, like, I ain't had none of that bullshit happen to me. I have a sister. Ain't none of that bullshit happen to her either. Maybe we doing something wrong. Listen, yes. Child, you remember them commercials Sally Struthers used to be over there with them kids and be talking about get her, what's it, $18 a month? Child, y'all know what I'm talking about back in the day. She looked like she jumped on the plane after she, was in the commercial and just came on back over here. I'm just saying, y'all know what I'm talking about. Oh, what was that? What was that movie? The Gods Must Be Crazy. Y'all remember that? Hold up. Ain't that what that movie was called? Child, these folks getting on my nerves. Hold on. Was that the name of the movie? Oh, yes, the guys must be crazy. Y'all, This her ass right here. Up on here trying to talk about some girl. You better shut the hell up. This her right here. This her ass right here. Yeah, we whatever. Yeah, we old creek. This her. She, you know what I'm saying, and was in there and call her ride back over here to the United States. She better go sit down somewhere. Ain't nobody trying to hear all of that. Yes, y'all, the guys must be crazy. Yeah, y'all went, you know what I'm saying, he was over there with the little you know what I'm saying, spitballs over there trying to hunt. Listen, y'all know what I'm talking about. Ain't nobody doing this. Ain't nobody doing all of this. Hold on. Sir, why are you in the midst of a road? Wait. Hold up, y'all. Hold on. Hold up. I got to check some folks real quick. Hold on. We not gonna do this. We just not. I'm not about to be a participant in this damn foolishness. She doing too much. Look like she's straight over here from down Ethiopia trying to talk shit. We ain't doing it. The child, I mean, they wasn't, yeah. I mean, they was, y'all know, they wasn't like for real spitballs, but like it was that effect. He was up there, and he was trying to, you know what I'm saying, get them birds or whatever the hell it was he was trying to get. And oh shit! But y'all know what I'm saying. But anyway, we not doing this. But let's continue on because she doing
okay. How many women have paid maternity leave?
Okay, that's not
like how are things panning out in the family courts? Why are abusive men having access to their children? Like why are
they don't have
making less than men? Like what? I mean, none of that means anything to me.
So that gap, obviously, I'm sure you've recognized the gender gap has been debunked so many times. It's almost foolish to debunk it again.
Well, you could say, yeah, that most women will go into jobs where they're making less, but then it does answer the question of why do we not value women's labor?
That's not valuing women's labor. It's just a reality that if you are going to be a person that aspires to become a brain surgeon, you are going to make more money than a person that aspires to do something that's you know, like in the household.
Can we go back to the bail bonds question?
Yeah.
Why does our country not persecute men then who are rapists?
Well, the majority of people who are in prison are men, so I
don't
know what you mean that we don't prosecute men that are rapists. We even prosecute people.
7% go to jail. Only 7% go to jail.
I don't know what that has to do with the question of whether or not we're living in a matriarchy or a patriarchy.
Because our government is preferential to men.
You're saying that they only like to arrest men when they kill someone, but our government is awarding men for raping women. I don't understand what
they're not. They don't care. Rape is effectively legal. You can literally rape a woman and you have a very low likelihood of actually going to jail as a man.
Rape is effectively legal.
It's effectively legal. How many men are actually going to jail for
I actually agree with you that in terms of sex crimes, and I don't know how you're peeling out women, because I would even, and again, this is nothing to do with our argument today, but I would even say that people are not being prosecuted hard enough when we're dealing with crimes against children, period.
Yeah.
Talking about
100%.
sexual crimes not being prosecuted
100%.
in this country is a whole other conversation, and you will not get a disagreement with me, but I think that it's wrong to say that it's somehow attached to being a woman when you know that there are so many children that are going through the exact same thing. I mean, the light sentences that are tossed out for pedophiles, it's completely ridiculous.
Yeah, guys, pause.
But I don't think it has anything to do with the conversation that we're having right now. But I agree with
you. It has everything to do with it, and you're separating it to make your
time.
No, you
turn your
separate
seat. I'm going to add 5 more minutes to this claim.
Here we go.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, Adam. Nice to meet you.
She already been
So
up. What you
your
going
claim
back
is,
up
just to be
for?
clear, that we live in a matriarchy, right?
Yes.
So I think even you'd agree that on a global level, that's obviously ridiculous when there are countries where people literally are honor killed for like Instagram posts. But even if we're talking about just the US, right? We don't have paid maternity leave. Abortion is illegal in over a dozen different states. And as someone earlier was mentioning, women are overwhelmingly the victims of sexual violence.
Oh my God, I'm so fucking sick of this. First of all, we have 50 states. Some will argue 51. If abortion is only illegal in 12, go to the rest of them. What's the problem? You take your ass to the club and get me walking drunk and feel like this dude is cute and go fuck him in the back of his car and decide it wasn't no good, or you feel bad because you did that, you don't get to holler rape and he get prosecuted. That's not how that works. You either want to work or you want to have these babies. Why would I pay you for having babies when I pay you to work? Y'all need to make up y'all mind about how this is supposed to go down. You can't have it both ways. Keep your hands off of people, you won't get your ass beat. See, I got solutions. I got solutions. Like, y'all should call me. I got real solutions to how, you know what I'm saying, y'all can stop all this oppression and suffering y'all got going on, because I'm not oppressed and I don't suffer. I don't have any problems. These are not these problems that y'all have been talking about for this hour. I don't have any problems. So I think what you should do is, since Candace don't have the problems, I don't have these problems, Cree don't have these problems, y'all should listen to what we're saying, and then you might not have them either. That's where I'm at with it. That's not how this works. Okay. You want a paycheck for not working. What you say? Hey, knowledge. It's sad that Black women have latched on to feminist thinking as much as they have. Girl, child, ain't nothing but the truth. Yeah, Cricket ain't gonna listen. They're not gonna listen. You want a paycheck for not working. Okay. They really don't. They don't. They don't. We're up here in the midst of straight up foolishness. Like, why? And this dude, like, look at this. Look at this. This corny. He corny. This is not helping you get no chicks on the yard, sir.
And domestic abuse. So that doesn't seem like a very well-designed matriarchy where women are victims or, you know, lacking power in so many different realms of society on like a structural level.
I just do not think that women are lacking power on a structural level because they can't, which they can, by the way, abort their children. Is that like one of your components? Is that
there's many states where abortion is illegal? Do you
those one is where it's not?
I am going to dispute that having a child is somehow something that restricts women in any capacity. Like you're saying,
what about the ability to decide what you do with your own body?
I don't believe that. I don't believe that murder is something that you should be allowed to decide.
Sure, and murder is illegal.
It's actually what you're doing to somebody else's body. So I'm pro-life. So the argument that women will only be free if they're able to, you know, kill off their own offspring, to me is
that's a really
extremely off-colored.
Well, I guess if you frame it that way, everyone kind of has to agree with you. But when we're talking about abortion, when 99% take place in the first few weeks, when, you know, there's no thalamus, there's no cortex, there's no capacity for consciousness in the fetus that's developing, saying that that fetus that has no capacity to be conscious, aware, anything.
One of your components is
that there's many states where abortion is illegal. Do you dispute that?
I am going to dispute that having a child is somehow something that restricts women in any capacity. Like you're saying,
what about the ability to decide what you do with your own body?
I don't believe that I don't believe that murder is something that you should be allowed to decide.
Sure, and murder is illegal.
It's actually what you're doing to somebody else's body. So I'm pro-life. So the argument that women will only be free if they're able to, you know, kill off their own offspring, to me is
that's a really
extremely off-colored.
Well, I guess if you frame it that way, everyone kind of has to agree with you. But when we're talking about abortion, when 99% take place in the first few weeks, when, you know, there's no thalamus, there's no cortex.
Absolutely not true. Brain begins to show electric activity at week 8. 81% of abortions are performed by week 9. So what about them chicks that be 7, 8, 8.5, even in some cases 9 months pregnant, going to get abortions? Now what we doing? That's red room. Y'all can say whatever y'all want. So, and my thing is, back in the day, most women didn't even know they was pregnant till they was like 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks in. So by the time they found out they was pregnant, according to this, there's brain activity. So there's a function. That's a person. Thank you, Eric. This is complete bullshit. Y'all with Candace. So being free, you only free if you can go to the clinic. So I guess I ain't free because I've been, but not for me. So I guess I ain't free. Because you can absolutely not get pregnant. You can absolutely not get pregnant. I told y'all I went to college. I've been around chicks. I seen chicks do everything from douche with Lysol. And I mean that old Lysol, you know, that brown Lysol in the brown bottle, to damn drink gasoline to get rid of babies. We not gonna do this. We're not gonna do this. You do not. You ain't got to get pregnant. You ain't got to get pregnant. You just don't. You do not have to get pregnant. Basically, the only thing you need to not get pregnant is a calendar and the ability to count. This ain't hard. This ain't got nothing to do with society. This ain't got nothing to do with being oppressed. This ain't got nothing to do with none of that. This got to do with being lazy. Yes. Yeah. Child, listen. I could write a book. Yeah. Like literally, it was my sophomore year in college. Literally every chick, because I was in a female dorm. Every chick on my floor except for me and my roommate at some point in the year got pregnant and drank gasoline, get rid of that baby. Gasoline and sugar. So I know it worked. And then the floor, because I stayed in the basement, so I like all the way down in the floor above us, they was passing around the Lysol. But I'm like, why don't y'all just get some Trojans? Now, I mean, Trojans went cheaper than gasoline, but it definitely was cheaper than that Lysol. Like, just get Cree. Listen, and this the crazy part. They got that from some white girls. I went to college in Fayetteville, so we was near Fort Bragg. They got that from some soldiers on the yard, on base. How to do that? That's all I'm saying. Straight up. Now I'm talking about the gasoline part. The Lysol, I had heard about that like back in my childhood. I didn't even think folks was even still doing that, but yeah, apparently it worked because didn't none of them get pregnant. Now, I know their womb had to be on fire. I know they twat was smoldering, but hell, they weren't pregnant. What you say? Yeah, I'm telling you, I was like, I'm trying to figure out how they got their nerve up to drink it. I guess when you desperate, you'll try anything. They damn sure was drinking it. I was like, this, I'm good. They said, what don't kill you, make it stronger. We'd have had to, I'm good. But let's get on here with simp sucker Brad.
There's no capacity for consciousness in the fetus that's developing. Saying that that fetus that has no capacity to be conscious, aware, anything else, should have the same rights, same bodily autonomy as a woman, that is an obvious, I mean, you're making my point for me. That
you're actually making a point that people who are, are born with tremendous disabilities should just be killed because of cognitive functions and ability.
I don't remember saying that. When did I say that?
The best argument, which again, this is sidetracked.
You're saying that
let's get back on track.
Kill people with disabilities.
I'm saying that if you're saying, no, I am saying that if you're saying that it's cognitive ability and at what stage you think.
The ability to be conscious, and just so we're clear, disabled people are conscious. They're aware.
Are they?
So the best argument that it is a life is the fact that you have to kill it. You have to have a procedure to kill it, right? So you have to intervene on the development. Like
living
you said, you
human
called
cells
it,
in it, but
you
it's
called
not
it
conscious.
a developing life.
Sure.
If you have to go into your body and murder it, then
not
it's
disputing
murder.
that there's living human cells in a
Again, so we can just tack that off because we just have a fundamental disagreement on whether or not a child is a life.
Paid maternity leave. People have been talking a lot about whether you have to be a mother, you have to work. A lot of women have to pick one or the other because in many cases, if you want to have a child, first of all, there's a big gap in your resume, so getting a job after that might be super difficult. And then secondly, even in the process of having that child, being pregnant, especially in the third trimester, and then raising the child where the vast majority of the burden typically is on the mother, the workplace and our system of our economy is not tailored to make that easy for them.
I actually totally agree with you. And this gets into
maternity leave, you agree?
I don't know. Actually, I'm agreeing with you that this pressure that you're describing exists for women. And I'm saying that it exists for women because of the feminists that came before who argued for women to enter the workplace.
And
so what you're saying is the solution didn't work and it actually produced more problems. And now we have more problems and we need more governance to be able to tackle these problems. So you're
any
like,
system that's forcing women to make certain decisions, I just wouldn't call that feminism.
Women to
make.
It's not
women should have the option to choose.
Do I
want to be a stay-at-home mom? Do I want to work? Do I have some mix of both?
Right.
That's the entire point here.
But you are also making an argument that if you are a woman who does run a business and does have employees, that they should be forced to pay them maternity leave.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so let me.
That's like saying taxes are forced. Yeah, there's certain things the government does to regulate our economy to ensure
But
equality and justice and better outcomes.
Okay,
yeah.
but just so you know, when you do that, like to a small business
like every
owner,
other developed country does.
What you are arguing for is supporting big corporations and taking out the little guys because
I'm arguing for supporting people that want to be mothers and also work at the same time.
Right,
the mechanism we do that way, that can be subsidies, taxes.
You guys can't just keep this. You can't say that we can't have the economic. We can't get down to the economics of what it actually implies, right?
I have an economics degree, and I can tell you if there's a small business that can't afford to pay maternity leave, the government might probably subsidize them and help cover the costs.
No, where's the government getting money from? This is
tax revenue. I mean,
right, exactly. So from us, just to be clear, from us, and this is the thing that gets me about all of these debates.
Yeah.
The magic solution that everybody has that we just need to tax the government more.
Every other developed country has paid maternity leave.
But it's not magic, as in like the money is coming. Magical countries. The money is coming from you. It's coming from us. So you're sitting here
that's
saying,
how taxes work.
Yes, we should be raising taxes. Yeah. Okay, and this is the entire problem is that the government is already taxing homes ×2, and people are already struggling with what's being taken out of their taxes.
We're not taxing capital gains properly or corporate profits properly.
Sure, you have something that there's a reason that we should be taxing more here, there.
It's an efficiency problem. Don't you guys want like government
families are having
maybe bring in more revenue to help women be mothers?
What I'm saying is that you are just creating a cynical argument. You're basically saying that women want to be able to have it all. Women cannot have it all because the government
choice to do what they'd like.
Okay, but you're saying women should have the choice to have it all.
Right,
okay?
and you have the choice, and with choice comes consequences. So if you decide you want to go to work, and then you decide you want to have a kid, you need to figure out how to pay for said kid because you decided you didn't want to work no more. As a business owner, it's not in my best interest as a business owner because I have the business to do what? Make money to pay you to fucking do nothing. That is bullshit. And if he had a business somewhere, he wouldn't be talking about paying somebody to do nothing. Trump done told y'all he not having it. You're gonna have to work. So you need to make a decision. You gonna work or you gonna have these kids? Y'all need to figure out what y'all want to do. Because see what he's talking about don't make no sense. But the first thing he want to holler about is capital gains. Those who don't have capital gains always want to dig in somebody else's. Ain't nobody got time for this.
That's
saying.
a really interesting way of putting like what do you have it all right now where you're working and you're also a mother? Is that having it all?
I'm saying that it's not possible for women to have it all.
You
It
have
isn't possible.
What do you have?
And that's one of the
whatever that is what I would want other women to have as well, which is the flexibility to work a job and also raise kids if they'd like.
No, but that's
okay. But see, what you're not understanding is Candace don't have to work. Candace can get up from that damn table and we don't never see Candace again and ain't nothing in her house changed. Cause she got a husband who got a what? Job. Candace don't have to work. Y'all got yourselves in situations where you have to work. So you can't do what she doing because you didn't do what she did. This is real simple. This simple. This ain't hard. This simple. You can't have what Candace got because you ain't do what she did. Child, Danny, he in here talking on some foolishness. He in here talking straight crazy. What you say? What you say? Yeah, gap in resume. That's why you got a husband to work through. Exactly. But again, if you raising your kids, then you ain't got time to work. So you don't need no damn resume. So see how the gap don't matter because you don't need it. See how they work? And then that goes back to what Candace says. You put yourself in a position where you gotta work. Where it's either work or have these kids. You gotta work to pay those student loans. But you could have just married somebody that had them kids and not had to worry about none of that. Hell, you could go to school while they at school. Just saying. But I'm a hush.
Exactly. You guys keep arguing that what people want is more flexibility. So you're acknowledging that right now, with feminism on fire, we are agreeing. Women are going into the workforce. Okay. Like I'm just kind of using a hyperbolic expression. Like feminism is everywhere. We are arguing that women need to have more opportunities. Women need to have more rights. They've taken that. Now you have the majority of people that are graduating with college degrees are in fact women. Men are committing suicide at a higher rate than women. We're looking around the world.
Feminism also would push for like increased awareness of men's mental health. So
that's fine. Great. You love feminism. That's great. We already know that. We get it.
Most Americans agree with me, by the way.
Actually,
like,
no, they don't.
I think
culture.
If you go issue by issue and by values, they might not associate with the term feminism because people like you have made it toxic. But the actual values that undergird feminism
you will move
are
the goalposts, and then when they begin taxing so that we can account for paid maternity leave for 3 months, which basically means a small business owner has to not have an employee while having to pay months and months and months. Like the person's not there. They're not actually.
Small business doesn't have the revenue to cover paid maternity leave. The government would probably subsidize them to make up the cost.
No, I actually think that the way things were made more sense, where we had an environment where you could afford to take care of children with just one person bringing in income in the house.
Is that possible in the current environment?
You can obviously.
When things are going to get way more expensive with these tariffs as well, like it's not going to be easy to afford anything in the coming years.
Is it going to happen overnight? No, but I think we need to be realistic about the fact that the first thing didn't work, right? The entire argument, the first thing was women entering the workforce is going to make everybody happier and richer. That was the
idea is that women having the choice to enter the workforce is better than them being forced to not do that.
Okay.
That's the argument.
Okay. That actually is not the argument at all. The argument was that women would become, and I'm talking about what the feminists got ahead of, and this is why women
like this imaginary Twitter feminist, but like right now you're talking to me, and
that's
not the argument.
I'm not actually debating an imaginary Twitter feminist. I'm speaking to you, and I have no idea why you're becoming increasingly more rude when I'm just rebutting your points that you're
you're not responding to my point.
I am responding to your point. I'm saying that you're creating a cyclical argument where you keep saying that the thing that you just did that you said was going to be enough. What we actually need is for women to just enter the workforce. Oh, women are in the workforce, and actually
not enough. I'm saying we don't have enough because we don't have paid maternity.
And I'm telling you that you're also not going to have enough because you're going to then be complaining when you get that paid maternity leave.
I'm not going to get maternity.
Okay. Well, they are arguing for family paid leave, so
that's even better. Yeah.
Okay. So
you like it. Do you think fathers should also be around to help raise children?
I think who's going to work if everybody goes home every time a child is born?
Not everyone's going to have a kid at the same time.
Pause. All right.
Everyone will have a male partner. Nice talking to you as well. My final claim is that feminism has made things easier for men.
It really has not.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Jenny.
Candace.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You said that feminism is easier for men, or is
it's made things
you're not responding to my point.
I am responding to to your point. I'm saying that you're creating a cyclical argument where you keep saying that the thing that you just did that you said was going to be enough. What we actually need is for women to just enter the workforce. Oh, women are in the workforce and actually
not enough. I'm saying we don't have enough because we don't
and
have
I'm
paid
telling you
maternity.
that you're also not going to have enough because you're going to then be complaining when you get that paid maternity leave.
I'm not
because
gonna get maternity
okay. Well, they are arguing for family paid leave. So
that's even better. Yeah.
Okay.
I
So
love
you,
that.
Mike,
Do you think fathers should also be around to help raise children?
I think
later?
who's going to work if everybody goes home every time a child is
Not
born?
everyone's going to have a kid at the
Pause,
same time.
guys. Pause. All right.
Everyone will have a male partner.
Nice talking to you.
Yeah, nice talking to you as well. My final claim is that feminism has made things easier for men.
Hi.
Hi.
This right here, these chicks, like, girl, how much have you spent to try to scrub that Asian off of you? And it ain't working. You greasy as hell. How much have you spent to try to scrub that off? So you already know everything that's going to come out her mouth is not what her people is about. Just I'm gonna go ahead and put that on the table right now. I'm pretty sure I'm right. Everything she geared to talk about is not what her people are about.
I'm Jenny.
Candace.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You said that feminism is easier for men, or is
it's made things, I think, easier in society for men.
men.
Yeah. Now men don't have to commit and they're being offered sex from women for free. So they have to actually effectively do less and be motivated less because feminism has kind of insisted on this culture of sex and hooking up. And I think that has been a net negative for women.
On good faith, I just want to say, I think you're approaching this with like the best interest for women. Like you think that is negative for women and harmful. And I think in some aspects we can agree to that. Yeah. I do think that there are some aspects of sex work or OnlyFans or whatnot that maybe men are definitely the huge consumers of. But if we are so concerned with women putting that out for free, it's charged, right? They're making money off of it. Then why are we not putting the onus more on men for being the one that is in control of that demand? Right. So we can take away the supply or, condemn it all we want. But if there's no onus on men to be the consumers of said products, then
Question. Can you buy something that ain't for sale? Can you buy something that's not for sale? I'm just trying to, can you buy something that's not on sale? That's not for sale. If it's not for purchase, how do you buy it? So the fact that y'all out here throwing cat any and everywhere ain't the problem. The problem is the men want to see it. Well, didn't you know the men want to see it, which is why you was out there selling it? I'm confused. I'm confused. But
wouldn't you think that would solve the issue that you're bringing up?
Yeah, no. I actually agree with you on that. And I really get to that. I want to be very clear. When I say that I'm anti-feminist, this does not mean that I do not also criticize men. I think that's something that people get very wrong.
Okay.
1000% agree. I believe the problem was seeded by the feminist movement. I think the sex revolution and telling women, I mean, literally these people were protesting. They didn't have their shirts on. And this used to be just, grandparents couldn't even imagine this, like women walking down the street and having their boobs out and their butts out on Instagram. And it created an environment where men then had to work harder for a woman's affection, for a woman to take her clothes off, sex education in the classroom. There's this huge myth that people were just doing it. Like, we might as well teach them because the children are just doing it. Actually, before they introduced sex education, the majority of high school graduates were graduating with their virginity intact. And then within 10 years of sex education, we saw a reversal. So I'm saying feminism actually seeded the problem. And now the problem is bad. And it's also bad for men.
According to CDC's Youth Risk Behavior Survey in 1991, 54% of high schoolers reported having sexual intercourse. That number decreased to 30% by 2021. Listen, hold on. Yeah, what'd you say? If it isn't there, you can't complain about it. Yeah, that's the silly argument. You can't buy something that's not on sale. You can't roll up in the Foot Locker and be like, you know what I'm saying, let me get I need to get some welding boots, because they don't have them now. You said so apparently only one juror got some sense. Well, depending on how it's supposed to go, because that racketeering, go ahead and let that go. That's not guilty, and let's move on to something else. Feminism made a lot of women a lot easier to sleep with. That's what Candace is saying. They sit up here talking about yes, y'all some hoes. Y'all some hoes with some horrible plastic surgery work. Look at this, y'all. It is bad. Horrible plastic surgery. Y'all got to do better than this. Damn, I could have done better than that with a can of Fix-A-Flat. Like, what we doing? I'm about tired with this. I'm trying to power through. Y'all on my nerves.
It's harmful for men to be constantly exposed to pornography and soft pornography. And I think it actually, in many ways, emasculates men.
Okay.
But I would say they are the main social benefactors of that culture because, well, first and foremost, as we're talking about women who have to kind of pick one or the other or try to manage both, and can we have it all? Like, no, you can't have it all. On a day where I really feel like I gave a little bit more to my career, I ache because I go, okay, but like now I feel like I didn't give the same amount to my children. And it's a constant push and pull, and it never feels enough. It really doesn't feel enough.
So like to a degree, I think that feminism does benefit men. I think that it allows men to be more emotionally intelligent, allows them to understand what that looks like, and also be able to connect with other people, right? But at the same time, there's so much work that feminism has done for women that to say that it benefits men more, I don't think is an accurate statement. For example, Title.
Okay. So, TJ, we are looking at Candace Owens. She had a debate with 20 feminists. I tried earlier in the stream playing the actual, video, and they hit with the copyright. So we just listened to the audio. But these folks is doing a lot. They doing entirely too much. Feminism has allowed men to be emotionally intelligent. Most men don't even understand what the hell that is. What we talking about? This don't make no sense.
9 has made it very possible for women to go to college, 600% more so, right? And I think that that is a huge benefit that we can credit to the feminist movement. Though I understand your point, though, of trying to say that like sex work is harmful for women and more beneficial for men because they're benefiting from it the most. But at the same time, if you think they're also suffering from it, does that not contradict your point?
Yeah, so I disagree on the fact that and we do agree that more women are going to college, more women than men are graduating with college degrees. And despite that, people are saying that we still live under a patriarchy. Women are free to start their own companies. Women are free to pay women whatever they want to pay. Women could hire, and in some cases do hire all women. And so I don't really understand, which wasn't your argument to be fair, the idea that even with all of that freedom, women are still not able to achieve what men are able to achieve. I think college education actually has increased women's stress. And I'm talking about in terms of how expensive it is. And I know you're gonna then say, well, the solution to that is we have to then move the goalpost. And I'm guessing here.
No, I mean,
but like college should be free. Everything should.
The governor mandated state workers back to the office today, including me. 74% of state workers took 160 hours each of PTO. So 74% of state workers, include myself, will be off this month. Hey, do what you got to do, because like literally, what's the point? What is the point of that? Child, y'all go ahead with all of that. Yeah, more women. Well, they're talking. That's black women. They're talking about all demographics of women. more women are going to college than men because men are opting out of college because they don't want to take on the debt, and two, they're going other routes like trade schools and all that kind of stuff. But like when they're talking about women, they're talking about all demographics of women. So that's accurate. The men is like it's not the debt ain't worth it. Which, I mean, to be honest, depending on what you're doing, it's not. You can go to community college and get your HVAC or whatever it is you're doing in 2 years and spend maybe, depending on when you go, spend maybe $15,000 versus going to college and spending $80,000. Yeah, all women. As you say, Candace Owens is a great debater, but some of the takes can be deep. Candace is a great debater, but some of the takes can be debunked. But she's a great debater. She talks fast like a used car salesman. It's a tactic taught in business and law school. Yeah. Well, she's just talking to some emotional idiots. So it really ain't even taking a whole lot for her to shut this down. But let's go.
To be free. He thinks,
well, I think
we just need more free stuff, and obviously nothing's free. We're just going to tax us.
If I could interject,
100%.
I just want to say, I think the issue that we keep coming back to is that you believe that women would be happiest in the home where they don't have to work. And I think most people in general probably wouldn't want to work anyways. But I think the main issue that we keep avoiding is that this is not an issue created by feminism. This is an issue created by capitalism.
Yeah, so I've heard this argument that it's an issue created by capitalism.
But you don't agree. You think feminism is the greater issue than the system
think that now the issue
more money to live.
Y'all
well,
want to spend
we
the
have
money.
to spend more money to
money.
live. Right. I think in large part because feminists got duped by the government. And I think we just keep further enslaving ourselves to the government. I'm not a person who believes in big government. And yet you find that feminists are constantly like, well, we can deal with the college issue. We just need more government. We can deal with the, needing to have more benefits. We just need more government. So it's like, okay, let's just tax every household 100%. And I'm trying to prevent that. And I'm saying that there was a time in America, and what's aspirational for me is I was, raised in part by my grandparents. They were very happy. They were just, I lived in that environment of what that looked like. And I think for many of people who didn't grow up there, feminism has taught us, and I say this as someone who had to take feminism 101 courses when I was in college, that it was like this nightmare, and people weren't happy, and people were suffering, and women were
suffering.
People, were being forced, and that there weren't actually these things marriages that worked, that the women actually weren't disempowered by being the CEOs of their households.
Well, allowing women to have more choice and freedom and agency to leave.
Sorry, you've been voted out by the majority.
I did enjoy this conversation. Very respectful.
All right, on to the next one.
I was thinking that a lot of your claims are very contradictory, saying that we live in a matriarchy, that men benefit from feminism more. I would like to understand why, again, you think that men benefit from feminism more?
Basically, because men don't have to commit to women. Men are still able to do what they're doing, and they are allowed to basically step away from all of the responsibilities of what it really meant to be a man and lead a household. And that's in large part, I think, due to the sexual revolution.
I mean, is it really bad that we don't have to give men the chase? Don't they have gratification from chasing us? Like, it's a hunter versus prey situation to me. So I feel like a lot of relationships, especially back then, were based on trying to get to home run like very fast. And now that we have the freedom to not commit and not tie ourselves to one man for the rest of our life, I just don't necessarily think that's bad. I just don't think the revolution has decreased our value. We're not chewed gum. We're people who value connection. And sex.
Wait, because you just talked out of both sides of your mouth. You don't want to be tied down to one man for the rest of your life, but you value connection. How the fuck that work? How that work? You talking out of both sides of your mouth. How does this work? And if you're not dealing with the man, then what is he chasing? You have literally talked out of both sides of your mouth. Literally. That's why you're looking like that. Like, girl, go sit down.
Is deep meaning.
it is just connection and intimacy between two people who trust each other. And why do we have to
You trust
deny
somebody
women that gratification? Like men, you say that are wired to want that. Why not women? Why?
Because you're not a man.
Well, we again, I go back to just our basic biological differences. There was a really interesting book that was done by a biophysicist. He, I think, recently passed away, named Edward O. Wilson, where he just sort of breaks down the biological arguments. Basically, he looks in the wild to see the behavior of animals. His thesis is just that you basically can never beat your own biology. And then he kind of compares it to what we see here as just humans and our social interactions and things that have been abundantly clear when you look at every civilization over time, whether it's from, 400 BC to LA today. What are these habits that you can see that never go away? And people coming together and starting families is one of these things, because we are biologically wired to find a family, to settle down, and to have children. And I think when you have women that are going out and they're giving all of the goods up for free.
The goods?
The goods. I'm not going to say, the goods up for free. Men
what if
are
women
not.
want the goods for free from men, and that we are very happy with those.
You can certainly do that. And there's
connections. We're not sockeye salmon. We're not made to breed and have families and then die.
You are welcome to do that. I'm just saying that when it comes time for you to find a partner, you may find yourself in a circumstance where men don't value you as high, because men like you spoke to, men like to compete. They like to feel like they've won something.
I'd like to deprive men of that because they don't need to have that. Sure. That's actually
but you did bring up.
Yeah. And that's what you say, that men are, essentially predatory, and we have the goods that we have to keep from them.
Oh, I didn't mean the goods in a bad way.
But that's such an objectifying way. The goods, the grocery goods.
Honestly, I think that that's just kind of
in
colloquial songs today. I think
we have value apart from how many people we sleep with. How many you also value education for women.
Nobody said.
And I think that's very interesting, because you're also a very educated woman, and in a lot of ways, this is just like an observation. You devalue yourself a lot.
I definitely do not feel like I'm devaluing myself.
Make him a sandwich?
Yeah. Yes, which is the title of my book.
Yes, feed your men and everything. Feed the people that you love. Because family isn't defined just by your partner or your kids. Family is community, and you should care about your community.
No, ma'am.
And understanding that, I just don't think you really care about the community that much when you're pushing this rhetoric of devaluing so much to stay in the kitchen, stay within the homes. And also saying that they're wasting money on college when education is very important. There's a lot of female scientists.
Yes, go sit down. You forgot what's wrong. Go handle it. You come back later.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
What's your name?
I'm Zola Stone.
Very nice to meet you, Zola. You have very pretty eyes.
Thank you.
So, Zola, this is how she's showing up to the table. So y'all can imagine what's getting ready to be said. Y'all can imagine what's getting ready to be said, right? Let's go.
So you keep talking about OnlyFans and Kim Kardashian, and well, I do OnlyFans.
Okay.
And I'm a stripper as well.
So you're in the sex industry.
Well, I'm mainly a recording artist, but I do that to fund the music.
You got OnlyFans.
But you're saying basically that we kind of devalue ourselves, but at the same time, I'm celibate. I still consider myself a woman of God.
Everybody seeing what you got.
So, not all of us are just out there just showing the goods, we do respect our bodies still.
No, you
don't.
So
I don't like that you kind of putting us all in one box.
So we have to, in order to have debates, we have to make generalizations. Of course, there can be some exceptions to the rule. But what I'm trying to understand is how can you say that you're not, giving up your body if you are a stripper?
Well, because I said I'm celibate. I still want to get married. I still want to have kids. And for some of us, it's hard for us to have kids. And I've also dealt with sexual abuse since a child, so I wasn't doing any sexual work as a child, and still went through things like that.
So I first want to say, perfectly sympathetic to everything you're saying, especially if you come from an environment where you've lived through something when you're a kid. It makes it infinitely harder. And it's actually a reason why so many people turn to sex work, because they don't have that structure at home that gives them, I think, other options. But would you agree with me that if you could, like, that wouldn't
I
have.
went to college for music production.
For music production.
I went to LA recording school.
Okay, so did you decide to be a stripper because of economic restraint or because of freedom?
For freedom, you know, we want the choice to do whatever we want with our bodies.
Okay.
You know, I don't think it matters if you do want to dress how you want to dress. That doesn't mean, oh, you can, you know, sexually abuse or sexually harass.
Okay, do you think the men that are being
That's
brought
exactly what that
into
means.
the strip
Let's be
clubs to
honest.
watch you, do you think that they're walking away and going, I did that because that woman was empowered to take off her clothes? Or do you think that they're actually devaluing women?
No, I get
when
it.
they-
I used to be that hypocrite, you know. I said things that I said I would never do anything like that, you know? Like, I totally get that. But some people just want to go to the club and have a good time.
Yeah, I think most of the people who are making those decisions are doing it because they're dealing with addictions themselves. I think you're worth more than taking your clothes off. I think that if you wanted to have a career in music, you wouldn't have to take your clothes off to do that. And I think that it's sad that you've been.
Every story is different.
Every story is different, but I do think that
You can
make a generalization.
But it be the same. Only thing that be different is the person telling the story, but it be the same story, damn near word for word. I know people that was violated as a child, they ain't stripping. I know people that wasn't violated as a child stripping. So what we saying? Exactly. Every time they get called out, the whole activities get, you know what I'm saying, get put on Front Street. They was abused. Lies. They be lying. Every time, we get into the whole activities. They was abused. You right, they was abused. It be them lies, but let's keep going.
At that point where I was going to college, I was working 3 jobs. I used to be a nurse. So you just don't know the situations. You don't know how life is going to turn out.
Be a nurse
it's going to be ups and downs.
Now you tripping.
But
girl, we gonna
no, I didn't want to do it. But in my situation and things that I went through, it's something that it just.
Man, you said
I'm actually really glad that you said no, I didn't want to do it, and you were put in a situation where you had to do it, because I think that's really honest. And I think the problem that I find with feminism is that it's a dishonest movement.
All right, guys, pause.
Right. That was you a nerd.
I'm not judging.
Bullshit. Child.
Nice to meet you. I'm
Nice to meet you, Catherine. Candace.
You brought up a book about that we're going to biology, and that biology is what we should organize society on based on like what skills men are good at.
I can restate what I said. There is a book, and the argument that's being made is that you can't override, you can't outthink your biology is the easiest way to say it. So feminism, I would say, is a movement where they're trying to outthink biology, meaning that all we have to do is this, and that, and then magically we're going to be transformed, and that desire within us to want to start a family is just going to like die, or we're going to be happier doing this thing. And I think the answer to that is no.
Right. I would argue that our biology does not have as much of an effect on the things that we choose to do with our careers, with our life choices, as you think it does. Our closest ancestors are chimps and bonobos. Bonobos are matriarchal, chimps are patriarchal. So, and our previous societies have run egalitarian for millennia. It's not been this inherent desire for men to rule a certain way and women to rule another way. It has been egalitarian, it's been patriarchal because there are things that go into effect, like your situation, your personality, that make you better at doing something than just your biology. I know many quiet, nerdy men that would not be good leaders, and I know many strong women, and vice versa. Like, it does not matter as your testosterone, the hormones you emit, is not going to have as much of an effect as I think you think it does.
Yes, it
I
does.
totally think it does. And so that's why getting back to college, since I'm assuming.
So if China been working on the damn oil rig, you ain't finna see, you not gonna see that again. If men are running things, and women are just as capable as men of running things, Why y'all have such a hard time running things? They give you the opportunity and you fuck it up every go around, every trip. Why y'all have such a hard time running things? Why is the success rate so low? Somebody let me know. I can, but I don't want to. I said that earlier in that I don't want to bother with none of that. I promise you I don't want to be bothered with none of that. Not none. Not none. Child, you start to get on my nerves. She might be our last one. Child, she getting on my nerves. It's almost 2:00.
You support women going to college.
Yeah.
Can you explain why there is, when they can freely choose, why there is such a difference in the majors that women choose versus the majors that men choose when they get to college?
Well, I think it's also important to note that things are changing and there's like many initiatives to get more women into STEM, to get women into higher paying fields. When women have been kept out of these fields for so long, it's a slow and steady race to get them there. It's not that women are not choosing them. They're slowly learning that this is okay for them to choose. There's more women in STEM. There's more lawyers. There's more women. Women are making up strides to those positions. So it's not like they're sedentary and they're staying in these humanities or arts fields.
I don't think you're being honest. I think, like, did you go to college?
I mean, I'm in college. I think I know that
women aren't, it's not because they're not pressured. It's because when quite literally they say, what are you interested in? Women flock to certain things. They just do. We do. We as a whole do. It tends to be, and this is because we are biologically wired. And even when a child is born, when a woman, like a female a child versus a male child, the girls start speaking faster and they speak more words. Just a fact, right? For the rest of their lives. Like my daughter started speaking, and this is not anecdotal, but I'm giving you an anecdotal example of something that is a real fact. So there's just a biological proclivity there that women like communication. And you see that followed all the way, as an example, into college. Women are drawn toward these careers that are compassionate, emotional, and communicative, which is why you'll see women flooding journalism. That's why even when you see women that are finding success, they are typically in careers that are communicative and compassionate. Women that will say, I want to do psychology, I want to do children's psychology. And so even at the same time that women are saying that they're running away from their biology, so to speak, they are still exhibiting that they very much believe in these determined biological characteristics that I think are something that's just never going to go away.
Right. But I would also bring up that the way that young girls are given dolls, young boys are put in sports. These things that kids learn at a very early age are very impactful in what children like and pursue in the future. It's not simply that I don't think there's a biological gene that women like fashion and men don't. That's why we do see men in fashion. That's why there's actually at the top of all these fashion houses, a lot of men are in successful positions in fashion. The way in which we teach the children to explore creativity and to play and what we put women in, we put women in pink rooms and little girls in pink rooms and boys in blue rooms. That has an effect.
So, and I'll tell you why I disagree. And I know because I had my children back to back that there's a blur here. So I never had to separate them and say, you play with this, you play with that. They were growing up with their toys. I mean, 1 year apart, my daughter and my son, they just are interested in different things. And this is one of the, I think, lies of feminism. And when you actually have children, there may be some exceptional child, but I am telling you, my boy's first word was car. He is obsessed with trucks. He's obsessed with cars. I did not do that. I don't like having to answer his questions about cars. I don't like having to answer his questions about trucks because my biological proclivities are not designed. I'm just not feeling passionate about engineering, wanting to know how everything works. You don't recognize that. And this is, I think, one of the worst harms of feminism, because I was a feminist when I was in college, or I at least thought I agreed with the movement, because you don't have the family yet. So when they make these arguments that you're making, you think that that's real. You think, oh, well, it's just because you're not giving the child the Barbie doll that they don't love Barbie dolls. And that's not a reality. We are just quite literally different.
There are many. I'm so sorry. Time is up.
Yeah, because I can't. I've had enough. Because they have been on. At this point, it's getting to who's gonna come up here and say the most ridiculous nonsense. Nobody's wanting to have a genuine, debate, back and forth exchange of ideas. They just want to come up here and be goofy. So It literally is only like another 10 minutes. So we good. We got to the meat, and they no. None of them debunked anything that Candace was talking about. So we good on that. We good on that. I'm over it. But again, like what Candace was saying, boys and girls, we are different. We wired different. We are going to gravitate to different things. And again, if you a woman and you want the $300,000 paycheck, you gonna have to do $300,000 work. And it ain't gonna, and more than likely it's not gonna be cute. It's not gonna be easy. And that's pretty much all you're gonna be doing. Because does anybody notice that CEOs and COOs and CFOs, they work all the fucking time? They work all the time. There ain't no flexible hours in that. There ain't no none of that. They work. They work in the office. They work in the car. They work at home. They work. So yeah, there's no flexible hours in that life. So y'all get with the program. This just I told you they be making me itch with stupid shit. You gonna be if you gonna go ahead and strip, Derek. You definitely got time. You got time for it. Go ahead and make that do what it do. You got time to strip. You got time to work on your little routine. You know what I'm saying? Get your playlist together and do what you got and do and get that paper. Go ahead and get your OnlyFans going. Get that paper up. And get your paper up. Oh Lord. So listen, y'all. Folks out here is in real, as Auntie Iyanla would say, they are in real breakdown. They are in so much breakdown. It is ridiculous. People are in breakdown. In breakdown. That's all I got. Y'all work that out. Work that on out. Foolishness. Hey, I ain't got no packages. Yeah. So it is what it is, and we're gonna let that be what it is. So with that, y'all, I appreciate y'all for stopping by. I'm gonna take me some aspirin because that made my hair hurt. I will be keeping an eye on the Diddy situation as well as the big beautiful bill. So if anything pops off, y'all know I will be back to let y'all know all about it. I will be popping on some point tomorrow doing a live stream that ain't gonna be related to neither one of them. I just need to decide what I want to talk about. But y'all, I appreciate y'all for hanging out for my quadruple stream. Because I'm supposed to be going to the gym at like 6:30. Y'all pray for me. That's literally like 4 and a half hours from now. We're gonna see how that work. So I'm probably gonna go in my room. You'll say I probably have this Falcon Crest playing in the background and lay down for a minute. But I appreciate y'all for hanging out. Folks out here in breakdown, they doing bad. And we didn't even hear from all of them. That's the crazy part. It was still ones that didn't get to say anything. And like I said, even though it was almost over, it was ones that didn't get to say anything. So, child. purge yourself, cleanse yourself from this foolishness. And I will see y'all later on today. Take care and be good to yourselves and others. I will see y'all on the flip side. Bye.
CDT.